Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Cool Sports Chat. Today we're going to be talking, 2 weeks of football, fantasy football championships, predictions for playoffs. I don't know. We'll see. It's our last episode of 2024 because tomorrow is 2025. So should be good. It looks like we are going to have a full house today. Look at, whoa, is that a Ezekiel Elliott? David, is there any reason you have Ezekiel Elliott? Was there any Zeke news today?
Once again, he has been let go by the Dallas Cowboys, and I have no idea how next season we are going to make up for those 6 yards that he added every game. It's going to be a challenge.
That's a tough sell. It's hard. It's difficult.
Honestly, you know what though? Just because it'd be really funny, I could see him joining somebody like Kansas City now and going to the Super Bowl,
and then going and getting a ship. Yeah, that would be. That's exactly how that would play out, right?
It'd be so funny.
Well, it's it's kind of crazy though. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's other stories like that where it's like, well, shoot, Saquon with the Eagles, right? Like, dude's rocking, like, has like great seasons or whatever, but like, dude's playing just terribly with New York, and they're like, all right, send him to Philly. They send him to Philly, and he's like, oh, I like it here. Let's have.
He's like
fun.
Amazing. I know.
And he's like, oh, dude is just he turns into a monster again. You're like, yeah, that's what they needed, but I don't know. You just don't want to give it your all to a team that's terrible, I guess.
Yeah, the Hard Knocks video isn't going to age very well. The Giants owner saying the worst thing that could happen is him go to Philadelphia. I would lose sleep about that. I don't know why they thought he couldn't go to Philadelphia. Was there like any reasoning behind that?
Who?
The Giants. The Giants ownership said no, he's out. He won't go. Scott's happy about it. He had a pretty good.
What's funny though is how great of a season he's had. It would have. Hold on, the champ is here. Everybody stop.
The press is. He has arrived. This is the last time I'm making before I'm going to Disney World, everybody. So
this was the only. Him showing up is the only firework I needed for New Year's Eve.
I'm
right
happy
there.
to apply, David.
That's the sparkle I needed in my night.
That's why I'm here.
Grayson,
when you got the boy making an appearance tonight.
Grayson, how does it feel to be 2024 fantasy champion?
Like a gigantic stroke of luck and a really bad year for a lot of other teams. No, it feels it's been a long time coming, but it's a crap ton of luck.
Hey, that's every NFL team, I feel like, so good for you.
Take what I can get.
Yeah, case in point, Kansas City. Probably the luckiest team this year.
I mean, when the script is written in your favor.
I was going to say, when you have literally half the refs in your pocket, I mean, how much more lucky can you get?
Scott,
you got to watch out, Grayson. Soon Chris Collinsworth is going to be buttering you up every single game.
Grayson knows how to pick the fantasy teams to the best of his ability. It's insane.
Every time they show an owner, they're going to be like, this guy he's just not a Grayson, He's not making the right calls.
Just like every other owner of a fantasy team, Grayson knows how to pick him. Look at how he just put Baker Mayfield in to start yet again. What a call.
Scott, what happened with the Cardinals not helping out Seattle?
The Cardinals are, it's one of those, you ask a question and every single answer is, it's a horrible answer, but it's the only answer that actually fits. Is you just don't know at all. Oh, well.
Okay.
I mean, that sounded like an official press conference from the Cardinals, to be fair.
I was going to say, if you were to play that and then play, the actual one, I'd have been like, I can't tell the difference.
Scott might have just taken the script from the last one.
It's like, what is it? The little Pam meme. It's the same picture.
Exactly.
I did see, what's his name? He was like trying to hype up the team And they're like, "Is this supposed to hype them up?" And he was just like talking all calm and stuff, and it would like zoom in on players like just all drastic, and they're just like sitting there like kind of bored. I don't know. The Cardinals have talent. I think next year they can put it together.
Honestly, I expected them to be in the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I didn't think they'd quite make it to the bowl, but I would not have been shocked to have seen them in the championship game at least.
Yeah, I would say early on the Rams making it, did not expect that.
No, not this year. As much as I like Stafford, I didn't expect it.
Well, that's only because Puka was out for 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah,
And
that
as soon as he
definitely
came
hurt
back,
them.
like they started turning it on. Him and Cup, right? Like that's the two literal like keys of that offense with
See,
Stafford.
The thing is, though, and I've been telling this to other like Cowboy fans, like I'm a diehard Cowboy fan. I love them and everything, but they try to excuse this whole season, like, oh, well, Dak's been hurt. They weren't doing a great job before Dak was hurt. Like,
Yeah,
let's be honest. And even if they were, if your team relies on one player to make it or not, you don't deserve to be in the Super Bowl. You don't deserve to keep going. Like, you can't have
that.
You can't
But
have
I
the
mean,
whole
I
team
think
on
that
just
like
one
adds
guy.
to the validity, though, right? Of like some people can literally change the game, right?
I get that. Like, I definitely think it should give you an edge. Now, if let's say the Cowboys were then losing games like barely, I'd give it a little more like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Like
if we had
maybe
Dak,
that
it might have
one
been a little
player is the
different.
one,
Yeah.
right? But like this last game against the Eagles, 7-41.
I was like getting blown out by 30 points.
Everybody should
Absolutely
be
not.
fired. Done.
I was just thinking that. I was like, well, it also depends. Like, you're right. Like, well, has it been a field goal every game? Has it been, you know what I mean, like onesie
Right.
twosies?
If
No,
it comes down to those like last minute, like I give a little more credence because one stellar player can definitely make a difference there.
oh, 1000%.
But but good teams find a way to win.
Yes, because I was also going to say like it was well, because you said like they weren't, some of those games really weren't close, right, with the Cowboys. Like I was thinking, I was like, because personally I'm a Saints fan, right, and we are an absolute dog water team, and we just absolutely dogged you guys down, and it was just like,
Yeah, and
oh,
that
the
was
Saints,
with Dak.
really, and then they lost literally 8 or 9 in a row. It's like, dude, that's tough. Like losing to a team like that, because that team, like realistically, we are not good.
Like I remember after that game, it was like, are the Saints that good or are the Cowboys that bad? Turns out we were just that bad.
You're just that bad. Yeah, I was like, we got the answer real quick.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a team with some playoff hopes, the only one out of any of our teams, Bobby, your team's still alive. So
Yeah.
But you guys have had 2 weeks in a row to clinch it. You just need
Yep.
one win. Broncos have not got it done. They should have against the Chargers.
Yep.
It's
They're
the
up
Durham
big.
Bulls, actually.
I think the defense, they seem fine the first half. They seem like the ump is there. Then the second half, everything just glows. There's nothing there anymore.
You know who I don't want to make it in? The Dolphins. I just don't want to see the Dolphins in the playoffs
Why? What is wrong with the Finns?
because they're gonna go and just get blown out again, like they always do.
Well, that's the funniest part is the
Keegan's
riding-
secret fear is concussions, so he gets PTSD every time he sees Tua on screen.
Okay, look, if I'm being honest, it's one of those things that like, if that man dies on a football field, that doctor that cleared him is never gonna work ever again. Like
No, but he's probably made enough money to this point that he could retire off just that.
I mean, possibly, right? Sure, I'm sure an NFL doctor or whatever, team doc, you probably
You got to be raking it
a
in.
decent amount of scratch, but like it is just one of those things. It's like you got to realize, like you clear him, yeah, it's probably not. You know what I mean?
But also, at what point does Tua need to be like, yeah, I should probably stop?
Well, so that's what I'm like.
Two
For me,
concussions,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying is like, because like after that happened, it was just one of those things. Like I was like, dude, like as a person
after
who
one or
plays-
two, I get it, but after that, like,
yeah,
dude,
like as a person who plays sports like quite often and still tries to be like athletic and all that kind of stuff, like you definitely like there's a point where you just go, you know what, maybe it's time to, maybe I should not go play basketball, like pick up ball anymore, you know what I mean, things like that. Like seen people blow, you know what I mean, dudes my age blow Achilles,
maybe
ACLs, like
our local team, maybe we change to flag football, guys. Maybe we
right. But yeah, it's like especially something like that though. It's like, dude, you have money, and then like and the thing that I don't like personally, I don't even have is like he's got like a wife and kids.
Oh, he's definitely been successful enough and he's young enough that he could easily pivot what he has into a stellar other career.
Oh,
Yeah,
1,000. You can
broadcasting.
go and do sportscasting or do whatever it is, and they'll pay
Absolutely.
you definitely
Honestly, especially if it was
amount, you know?
because of injuries and stuff, the Dolphins would probably hire him as like an assistant coach of some kind, quarterback coach, like
quarterback or something, right? Yeah,
and then he'd still
1,000%.
get plenty of promotional opportunities,
Oh, yeah.
advertising. He could easily go on to do any kind of things he wanted.
The
So
only thing you
it's
wouldn't
just
be
his
doing
ego.
is throwing the football on Sundays, man. Like that's
Now I do believe if like let's say they won the Super Bowl this year, he might retire. It
not
might be
that
that
they
that's
will.
just what he wanted was to get, the big game and be done.
See, I would say if
I
he
mean,
stopped running with his head at the defender, it might help him with the concussion issue.
Yeah.
Because
that
the
would help
last
a
couple
little bit.
have definitely been on him.
That's
But
what
the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is, like the last one that like took him out it wasn't even that hard of a hit. Like
It was
didn't
just
even
he
hit the
hit
head.
like head first, yeah.
Well, yeah,
It
the way
just-
he falls too is like for some reason it's like he has a magnet in his head. He's just attracted to defenders, falling forward and just getting creamed every single time.
And I mean, and I am not an expert on concussions by any means, but I believe they get progressively worse the more you get, correct?
Yeah,
Like,
you
it's
can only
easier-
get
it's
so
easier to
many.
get
They
'em,
get worse and
and
they
it
get
hurts
easier
worse,
to
so-
get.
Well, yeah, the more that
Yeah.
you get, the younger it still takes like years to manifest. So he's got a rough retirement ahead of him when he finally pulls that trigger.
Well, because he's only what 25,
Something
26.
like
I mean, if he stays in the league average of quarterbacks, up into his like early 30s, mid 30s, if he keeps the record he's doing now, he's going to be brain dead by 40.
Mhm.
Oh, 1,000%. Like, dude,
I mean,
it's
I
gonna be
honestly would want to see him like.
unusable.
Sorry, I wanted to see him I would want to see him as a sportscaster because as much fun as it is to like see like your childhood heroes still kind of like commentate. You're watching old people talk about football still. It'd be nice to at least have somebody who's like freshly out of the league who still had at least some life to him, who knows the in and outs of some of the current players that are still like top of the game.
Oh,
Like,
that's
I mean,
1,000%.
like I absolutely loved it when Tony Romo switched over to broadcasting after.
Where he
I
was
mean,
like calling plays before they happened.
exactly,
cool.
and like he knew what the league was like.
I
He's
bet
still
they
young
told him to
enough that
stop
he
doing
gets
that, by the way.
game. Yeah,
I was like, what? Like that's what makes it fun, right? But
Yeah.
it's so like, and like David, like with that, when he started doing that and going to it, I was like, because I've always kind of defended Tony Romo a little bit, like through the years. I was like, you put him on any other team other than the Cowboys, you know what I mean? And he's going to be pretty damn successful. I mean, he was pretty successful anyways, but it would just be that much better, right?
Yeah, the issue was he basically carried the team. They didn't get him a good team until that last year, and he got hurt. So then Dak got to use the team that they built for Tony Romo,
right?
and that's why he did so good that year. If you would have kept Romo in that year, I think they would have at least made it to the Super Bowl. Like they would have done very well.
But yeah, it's just and like him doing stuff like that, right? Just like literally looking at it on TV, being like, oh, well, this is gonna be a run to like. It just shows like how good of a like
He's
a
got that
mind
football
he had.
knowledge.
He had that football knowledge, that just like mind of like, oh, I
He had
see,
the
I see what this is,
instinct.
like the instinct. Yeah, I just so, and I was like, that's why I was like, I don't know why people shit on him so much. I was like, he was a good quarterback. He just had a really terrible Dallas team most of the time behind him.
I mean, he's probably my favorite modern day Dallas Cowboy quarterback, and I'm thrilled that he's done so well with broadcasting because I fully believe he's going to make it into the Hall of Fame now. It'll be broadcasting, but he's still, I think, going to be there. I think that he's going to have a good enough career that he'll make it in, and I think he deserves it more than a lot of people that already been there.
I can see that. Yeah.
Scott, I saw Pat McAfee burn the entire Colts organization to the ground on Twitter.
Oh,
Do you share these feelings about how they've handled the season and just not coming out? He said it looked like they were playing for the vacation.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with him. You gotta absolutely right. I mean, they just haven't really put up anything all year. Kind of like just like the Cardinals. It's kind of like, yeah, what else can you really say? They're just not really.
Yeah.
There's no cohesiveness. There's no working together. There's no kind of will help each other or trying to make your receivers better or your running backs better. It's all for themselves, and unfortunately, Richardson is the biggest hog of the ball that they have, and he's the one that gets the ball first. So,
Yeah, honestly,
I I was actually going to pass it off to you. I was going to say, Grayson, what are your because I guess we're just sharing our thoughts on our teams now that most of our teams are out of the playoffs, except for Bobby.
Yeah.
What do you? How do you feel? I mean, DTR is not playing. Well, is he going to play this week?
No, they're the way that this team is going, it went up in flames a long time ago. It went in flames the second they let Baker go. It's the Browns are just going to be really bad for a long time again, and it's because the Haslams don't know how to stay out of their own way. They keep picking bad GMs. They just keep. They have the way I like to describe it is they have a DC cinematic universe problem. They're trying too hard to catch up to too many franchises because they bought the team and they've done nothing but mess it up the entire time because they keep making bad choices. But they want it for some reason. They think if we just if we just keep messing up what works, somehow we're going to end up at the Super Bowl. And it doesn't make sense to me. It's just non-stop, just bad choice after bad choice. And somebody has to get Jimmy Haslam's finger off the trigger and just let somebody else steer the ship because it's getting horrifically bad. Like it's getting, and I hate to say this, David, but Dallas Cowboys bad.
I was gonna say you guys are turning into the Cowboys, man. Like with that.
No. I fully believe until Jerry
overreaching
Jones is gone, the
Oh,
Cowboys
yeah.
are not going to be
Dude, it's like Jimmy
yeah.
Haslam is kid in as like chief of staff, dude. And it's like he's not a football guy. What are we doing?
Nope.
It's so bad, dude. And I'm like, it's just a toxic relationship where she's dating somebody else who is toxic, and you just got to let that happen, and you go do your own thing because I can't watch my team be this bad anymore. It's so bad. It's just like
It almost sounds like
more than I do my own team because of Baker Mayfield.
It's all the owners. It's Irsay in Indianapolis. It's the Bidwells in Phoenix. You talk about
McCaskey's in Chicago.
McCaskey's in Chicago. Let's just get rid of all the.
Just because you know how to run a business and have money does not mean you are qualified to decide a football team's choices.
100%. And like they're relying on the AI like tools nowadays, and it's too much because the human element does not translate into AI or algorithmic analyzation. You have to have scouts for that. You have to have people that know these people and how they operate. You can't just take all that out because that ends up giving us what we have now. Boring football.
Well, guys, so and it's funny that you bring up like the AI and the just doing all of that kind of stuff because like after watching the movie like Moneyball, it is one of those things where like they started using analytics like a whole bunch, right, across all the sports because that was like what set it off. They're like, well, the A's did well with their little algorithms or whatever, figuring out all kind of stuff. But it's one of those things that like sports are weird like that, right? Like it is one of those things like you can have some of the best scouts ever, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to like translate to success.
And that's what also I think makes sports great is that you can have the most money and have the most talented team, but the underdog can still pull it off every now and then.
Right. And as much as I don't like him, you know what I mean, or like to bring him up, like Tom Brady was that. Everybody looked at him and was like, this guy, really? Like, you know what I mean? Not great, not physical. He's no DK Metcalf. You know what I mean? It's not like a physical specimen or anything. But you know, I mean, he has a great mind for the game, like knows how to throw the football, that kind of thing, and like it just like translated, right? Like another example, like Derek Jeter. Scouts were like, "Oh, this guy is not going to make it in the league," and goes on to be Mr. October or whatever, right? It's like sometimes you can't tell. Like the eyeball test fails people sometimes, right? So like I get it, like trying to work. You kind of have to like find that balance, right, between like using your scouts and having that good old fashioned, this dude's been scouting people for years or whatever, right? And every once in a while a squirrel finds a nut, but and then you have some analytics and stuff like that. Because I always like when the analytics that don't really mean anything or the stuff that's like not really like tracked sometimes is like super interesting to me. Like it's like specifically like we'll use the Dolphins for example, right? So you have the Dolphins, like their win percentage is like 70% or something like that with Tua on the field. With him off the field, it's literally like 15%. It's like something ridiculous. And you're like, that's like that. How much of an impact that actually makes is crazy.
That's like Geno Smith when he went out of that Seahawks game.
Love me some Geno, by the way.
Yeah. So he
Dub-
goes
dub
out
beat for
in
life.
the second quarter, early second quarter. The Seahawks go on to have negative 5 yards for the rest of the game. And I'm just like, all right, get Sam Howell out. Gino might not be the greatest right now, but he's better than Sam Howell. But we need to get someone else in there.
Well, I mean, still on the subject of analytics too. It's like you can still have like it has a place, right? Because you can kind of like see which plays work with certain running backs or like which side they work better on in certain like fields, teams, whatever. It has its place, but it's like it's just like anything else. A large part of any cohesive like environment is a lot of psychology and just emotional like connectivity. Even if not everybody gets along, as long as they're all working towards the same goal, that's all you want.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to like each other. You just got to respect each other.
Exactly.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
you have to know the positions, but you know that you're all playing for the same, thing. You want the Super Bowl. You want, to be the best team in the league. And when it feels like it's just so it honestly feels more Hollywood nowadays than anything else, where it's like everyone's just vying for their own contract just to make as much money as possible, which I get and respect. But at the same time, it's like it's just so boring because of that, because nobody wants to be a part of a team because all the ownership does is what they're doing now. And I get it. But at the same time, as the fans, we all suffer because of it.
So here's a question I wanted to ask because it came up today in the press conferences. Sirianni said he might sit Saquon Barkley or Shake. I can't speak.
Saquon?
He might sit Saquon Barkley Sunday.
No, you got to let him get the record.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. Like, as a Philly, I'm not even like a Philly fan, but if I were a Philly fan, like I would riot. Like, go get
As a
that dude
Dallas
the record.
Cowboy fan, I fucking hate the Eagles.
First of all,
but
Keegan,
they've got to go for it.
the Phillies fans are just going to riot anyways. They don't need a reason. All right. They don't need no reason to riot. They just do it. Okay. They're going to tear up their city for no reason. But yeah, it's one of those things like, and that's the thing. It's like, it's hard, right? Because like as fans, we do want to see people like break records, get all the yards and do all the great things or whatever. Right. But at the same time, it's also like difficult as the like management part, right? Where you go, well, we made playoffs. We're going to need you. You know what I mean? Like that's,
like, what if he got the record and then broke his leg on that same play?
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, damn, dude. So now we're down Saquon for, for any future games that we possibly could have made.
But what if you were Saquon?
Yeah.
Would you want to do it? Or
You're
would
only
you...
100 yards away, and it's against a team that didn't think you were worth anything.
And it's against a team that you're pretty much guaranteed to get it with.
Yeah.
Well, see, but that's the thing, right? It's like to some degree, like that whole like revenge plot, right? Of being like, well, this team didn't think I could, do whatever. It's like you're gonna try super hard, and then like you might get hurt. Trying super hard. So that's a huge like. This one's a full circle, man. Like there's a lot of edges to it.
Oh, Brendan, speaking of Barkley, what are your thoughts on your team wanting to sit Barkley this week? He's 100 yards away.
I feel like you can argue both sides.
Brendan, you need to go riot.
But what would you do though if it was your choice, Brendan? If it was down to you?
You've got the button, the go or no go.
Do you play him? Or do you sit him for the playoffs?
I've really got that meme in my head of the dude sweating with the buttons.
We're like dabbing it.
I would play him.
I don't.
I play.
Yes, because it's the Giants.
And the offensive linemen are coming out, and they're like, we want to get the record because it's part of our record, too.
If it was against Dallas or the Redskins, Commanders, I would not.
Whoa, Brendan.
No. Call them what they are. Okay.
No. To be fair, if it was against the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones would probably have a sniper shoot him while he's on the field, just to make it not happen.
David from the grassy knoll.
Exactly. Yeah. They'd be like, let's have a parade.
I mean, I honestly think that
we'll riot.
Because if they lose this game against the Giants, they're still they're in the hunt, right?
Honestly, him getting the record is like the only thing exciting that could happen from this game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think they're locked in.
2 seed.
I think they're locked in.
Because I was gonna say, I see the point of view where it's like if you know you're in the hunt, save your weapon, let them be healthy for the first game. But at the same time, if you might get knocked out. Let them just go for it. And I mean,
they won't get knocked out.
They're not gonna-
No, I was
they're
gonna say, I'm
locked.
pretty sure they're there. I'm pretty sure they're locked in. So, like,
Yeah.
realistically, it is literally just a glory game for him. And I think
Well, then,
that's
yeah, let
why,
him,
right?
It's the Giants. They're ending the season with the Giants. Let him run loose. They're not going to stop him.
And then
Yeah,
as soon as he
unless-
gets the record, pull it.
just
Oh,
yeah, pull him, sit him.
off the
All right,
field.
you got your 101 yards. All right, go grab some bench, son.
That's
I
what-
Don't, no,
I
not even
mean,
bench. Go
they're
back
like,
to the
pull them
locker
the
room.
first
You're
half.
out. You're out. Get
Yeah,
out.
you
Yeah,
can
go
go
home.
take. You can
Meet
Not even
kids
looking
at
at the
the
football.
plane.
Get back.
yeah. Give me his helmet. Hide his helmet. He's not going out there.
Put this man. Just lock him up.
Yeah, lock him up. That's exactly it. No,
I don't know.
but
As
yeah, I
someone
mean, really, like realistically, it is just garbage time. So it's like I do see the argument though for like both sides, but because that's one of those things is like that's always like the worst thing is like when you get hurt in garbage time for no reason.
Mm.
You know, there's a
See,
reason
but
why
I
you
feel,
stick your
but for
starters in
him,
the
I
fourth
feel
when
like
you're up
him
by 20. You know?
personally, it's not garbage time because he basically got discarded by a team, and he'll be able to set a record afterwards that probably won't be touched for a long time. Like the way the game's changing, it's going to be a tough record to hit.
I will say
And
that
he gets to have it against that same team that threw him away. Like that's a movie.
That's a
if
big
you
middle
are
finger, for
Saquon,
sure.
like I'm saying I'm playing. Sorry, coach. I'm playing. You know, like me personally, it's like, okay, well, records how far? All right, we got this 100 yards.
Not
Easy.
only that, but personally, I'd rather have that record than a Super Bowl win.
Oh
if
yeah.
if I had to pick, I'd rather have that.
Fair, I guess. Like it's and you're right, David, like just the way the game is changing, like elite running backs it's not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like I remember back in 2008, you know, around that time frame.
It used to be the thing for the
middle
running backs.
2000s,
Now,
every team had a running back. It was like you know, freaking that was your staple right there. Is like you had to have a good running back. And it was every team had one, and it was wild to watch. And then like now these past couple years, it's like you have maybe 3 or 4 guys that are elite,
decent. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like elite, and everybody else is like decent, or you have you know, a 2 or 3 running back system where it's like these 3 guys are gonna, you know, spread time or whatever between the downs or something like that. So yeah, you're exactly right though. I say fuck it, let them go.
Yeah, not only
run.
that, but as tough as they get ran now, when you do have an elite running back, they're only in their peak for maybe 2 or 3 years. At most.
3 years tops. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy
So
how long the average career is.
who's going to say that he'll ever have this chance again? It's a once in a lifetime chance that I think 99% of running backs don't get a shot at. I'd say let him go for the glory.
Fair.
Well, Saquon Barkley's like what? How old again?
27, 26.
Yeah, let him get the record. There, he's about to blow a couple of kneecaps over the next couple of years. It's time.
Yeah,
to let the horse out.
Otherwise, he's going to end up like Zeke and just be washed up.
Yeah, he's 27.
Yeah, it's time to let the pony go. Let him get the ribbon, bring it home, lock him up, and then let him get through the offseason. And then when he retires in the next couple of years, let him go. Because like, look at Nick Chubb too, because he's elite, but that dude, he's injured so often just because of how dirty he gets hit. But he's pretty much done too. So with how aggressive some of these teams can get too, and how hard they try to, as was brought out by you guys earlier, it's the volatility in that position is it's too high. They got to let him.
It's not like he's a quarterback that's going to have another decade or 2 to get it done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like most elite running backs, you do it between the ages of 24 to 28, 29.
Like
if
30 is
make it
old
that
for
long,
a running back.
Yeah, like even if you make it that long, like 30-year-old running back in the NFL is a rare sight to
almost.
see.
Yeah, so I let him do it. I wouldn't stop him. I mean, if he didn't want to do it,
that's a different story.
Sure. But if he had any like, coach, I kind of want to go for it. Plus,
He needs
100 yards against the
101
Giants,
yards.
he should be able to get that in the first half. Let's be honest.
101 to break that record.
Nolan, what's your college team?
So it's one of those things that I never went to college, right? So I've never really had like any allegiances. But it is one of those things that during my military travels, I've met some friends that did go to college. And it's one of those things that I kind of got inducted into their friend group. So my college team is West Virginia, is the good old Mountaineers.
Nice.
Shout out!
I went to a game there.
Shout out to Pat McAfee. Definitely love me some Morgantown. go and catch a couple games a year or whatever out there.
Because it's the only thing to do in Morgantown.
It really is, but at the same time, it's a great place to go. Good atmosphere, super fun to kind of party at and have a great time. So love me some Mountaineer games, man.
It is like the definition of college town.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Yeah, it's they go hard.
It's an experience. It's super fun. So if anybody out there watching, listening, or whatever has never been to a West Virginia game in Morgantown, I put it on the list and have fun when you're there. So
I mean, I went and my team even lost that I went to see. I still had a great time.
Oh yeah, it's still a great time. Yeah.
Plus, even on the losing side, standing in the stadium, hearing everybody else singing the West Virginia song.
Oh, singing country.
I had to join in.
Hugh Country Roads.
Denver. Yep.
That's like one of my favorite. Like so, and because like everywhere has like their own traditions and stuff like that or whatever, right? But
it's a fun one.
But like that one's probably one of the best ones. Like I absolutely love that one.
Yeah,
and it's probably one of my favorites. That
it gave me goosebumps.
Oh, it does. The whole stadium is staying or whatever to sing Country Roads. It's crazy, and they do that at all most of the sporting events actually. So they even do it at basketball games. It's great.
Grayson, what's your college team?
Honestly, don't have one. Like my dad, because he roots for all Ohio teams, he rooted for Ohio State, but I feel like that was too much of a bandwagon like move back in the day. So I don't really have one where I'm tied to it, but I'll root for the Buckeyes here and there, but nothing, like the Browns, I would say.
You look like a huge Bama fan. Are you sure?
I mean, I'll roll Tide. I'll tell you what.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I'll tell you what.
No, honestly, I have some buddies that are huge Bama fans, and but yeah, nothing like the Browns for me. I'm not a huge college football guy, but I mean, yeah.
I think it's hilarious that Alabama didn't even win their bowl game.
Oh, did they lose?
They lost.
They lost
yeah, Michigan, didn't
Michigan whooped them.
Huh. I was gonna say I saw a Louisville one. I was pretty excited. They almost lost. They went for 2, and Louisville was able to block it on the last play of the game. And I was like, oh, thank God! I thought you were gonna lose because they were up pretty big in the 4th. I let them get back into the game, so I was excited. I know it's just the Sun Bowl, but that's all Louisville ever gets regulated to. Even when we had Lamar.
Some of the bowl games are fun. Like I'd almost be more excited for my team to be in the Pop-Tart Bowl than the championship.
Yeah, but David, your team's probably going to be in the championship.
I know, but still,
who's David's team? But
Texas.
Oh, that makes it even better when I give you one of these.
oh no, not horns down. I'm so offended.
I was like, because also I was going on my West Virginia tirade over here, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, my Mountaineers would be disappointed in me if I didn't at least throw one horns down.
Gotta do it to him.
Absolutely.
Scott, how did you feel about Indiana's performance in their playoff game?
I had said that I thought that coming off of the loss at Ohio State with the large crowd there and that environment, that they would be able to use that as drive to play better at Notre Dame. And it just didn't happen. Unfortunately, Curtis Rourke, their quarterback, let that whole environment and the just the weight of that particular game kind of lay down on his shoulders, and he just didn't do very, very well. Not anything like he has played throughout the year. And it wasn't really until Notre Dame started putting in their second and third stringers late in the game that Indiana was able to get a couple of touchdowns, make a 25 point loss look better to be only 10. But then as it turned out, those that first week of games, SMU lost by more than 30. Clemson lost by almost 20. All the other losses were big, and the loss from Indiana to Notre Dame was the smallest of all the 4 early games. So it made it not as painful, but still painful. And now I guess we get to see how we turn it around for next year.
I will say though, you at least got to witness like the Bob Knight basketball years. So
Bobby Knight.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was there. I saw it in person, and wonderful time. Wish it was that way now, but then again, we'd have to dig Bob Knight out of the ground to be able to have that happen, and I don't think that's going to work out very well. So.
Well, college football playoffs are ongoing. It looks like Boise State got a touchdown, so now it's 14-7.
Okay, they're hanging in there.
Yeah, they were down 14-0. I thought they were about to get rolled by Penn State. I was like, ooh.
If Penn would have gotten one more after that, I would have said game over.
Yeah. But I mean, Texas, what are you guys feeling like right now, David Brennan?
I feel good. I think they're going to do well. I'm actually a little more excited to see what's going to happen between Notre Dame and Georgia. I think isn't that game happening? Yeah, I think that's what they're playing. That'll be a very interesting game. I think Notre Dame's been secretly strong. I think that nobody's been giving them enough attention like they should be. Kind of like Scott was mentioning, like they're a good team. People have been kind of overlooking them, but I, especially with the backup quarterback in, I think Irish are going to bring down those Bulldogs. But as far as Texas goes, Arizona? I mean, this is of course how people lose; they get cocky. But I feel pretty confident. I think they're going to take it.
You think sneaky little leprechauns, sneaky little Irishmen?
I just think it's funny that Texas is going back to the same. Like they've played in Atlanta so many times now this year. Like in that same stadium. Yeah, because the championship is there too. So if they make it to that, it's going to be back again. And it's going to keep being that stupid story about how they can't bring Bevo because the stadium won't allow the Longhorn into the stadium.
Brennan, how are you feeling with Texas?
I feel fine about Texas. The one that I'm more excited for is the college I did go to. Montana State is actually in the FCS championship. Down in Frisco on Monday night.
Who are they playing?
North Dakota.
Okay.
But Montana is undefeated, and they play Oregon next year, like week 1. So that's going to be fun.
That'll be a good game.
But my aunt's going to fly to Texas and go see it from Montana. I thought about driving down, but I have to work, so I can't.
Or the Kansas Kite Monster could abduct you.
Oh, maybe he can give me a ride.
Hey, if I could justify getting to Atlanta, I would do it. The tickets are still super cheap. They're selling for like $35.
Really? Damn.
I know.
Mean, at least Frisco is only like an 8-hour drive from me. So.
I think it's just that there's so many people from Arizona that aren't making that trek. Like it's pretty far from there. So I get it. But man, it's tempting at a price that low. Because even if that's nosebleeds in an NFL stadium, every seat's at least somewhat decent, And
at least I would want to go see it because it's the Atlanta new stadium.
Yep.
And nice. Their beer prices are cheap.
And it's Saturday, so the Chick-fil-A on the inside will be open.
Well,
sorry, not Saturday, but it's during Wednesday. The week. Yeah.
Relatively cheap, Brendan. Relatively cheap.
Yeah, for the bowl game, like maybe not as cheap.
Weekend it is.
Yeah. Well.
I will say college game prices, like maybe half of what NFL. Like,
when we go to the homecoming games up in Wyoming, man, it's so cheap up there, and everyone's just so happy, and it's so good. Like you said, they have their beer song, so everyone waits to get beer, and then they're like, "Play the beer song." So Wyoming did terrible though this year, so unfortunately we didn't go up there. We are in Colorado, so I guess we should talk about CSU got murdered in their bowl game, not even close. And BYU stole the Haplocanthosaurus specimen from Colorado, as well as also murdered the CU Buffaloes. So, I mean, just a terrible day for Colorado there. David, no surprise for you, though, I would say, right?
Jacked by a bunch of Mormons, man. What happened?
They didn't actually steal the dinosaur. I just thought it'd be a fun little tie-in since that was a new paper. But yeah, no, CU and CSU, I guess, both got murdered. It's Shadur's last game. I think it's both Sanders boys as well as Travis Hunter. I will say with how it's played out, Travis Hunter might now be the first overall pick now that the
Numero
Patriots.
uno, yeah.
Yeah.
It's looking that
Could
way.
be.
I just don't
Possibly.
want him in Dallas. I don't want any of them.
You just
Well,
don't want
you don't
his
have to worry
girlfriend
about
in
it, David,
Dallas.
because he's probably going to end up going to the Saints or the Browns, man. You're
That's
good.
fine. That's fine.
No,
I just don't. I don't want Sanders anywhere near the Cowboys. That time's over.
The Cowboys are taking the Boise State running back.
I mean, honestly, they need it. And if we need offensive
do.
line,
They
we need
need
running
some
back.
milk.
Yeah, like if they can build up a team, Dak is decent enough that he can make it work with a good team. But if it's all on Dak, he's no Tony Romo. He can't make it happen.
I don't think you're going to get anything done because you're bringing McCarthy back. Sorry.
He's not coming back. He's going to be gone. I think that Eagles game just now was the final. If they would have found a way to keep that close,
That's the dagger right
might-
there. Like they,
that
Well,
might-
it was close
my
if you
fault.
take away the scoreboard.
right.
They physically were close when they played the game. Yes.
Because according to
Are you sure? Because I think a lot of them
the
didn't
score.
show up.
You know, the scoreboard. It was there's only about 5 plays that really decided this game.
And it wasn't even like their starters that they
The 5
lost this
touchdown.
game. Like,
Like
come on.
Yeah,
How do
wasn't
you-
Tanner
how do you
McKee
feel
playing?
about being beat by the third string quarterback? Because the third string quarterback by himself put up 2 touchdowns to Cooper Rush's 1.
that's tough when you're not a very good team and you're out here giving up 2 tutties to the third guy.
All I know is it sucks when your team is this bad, and yet you're still not the worst in your division.
Oof.
It's true.
So we can at least all agree, thank God we're not New York Giants fans.
Right. It's funny because like when I see like teams doing terrible like that or whatever, I'm like, what do you mean? These guys could win a state championship. It's ridiculous out here. Like,
Oh, like right now, I am fully convinced the Texas Longhorns could mop up the floor with the Dallas Cowboys.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, these guys couldn't win a national championship.
Hey.
Couldn't win a state championship even. Fuck.
So I just looked up
High
at
school
the.
football is pretty big in Texas. Maybe the Cowboys could make a good go at that one.
Maybe.
So here are the 2 lowest price tickets you can buy in the NFL. Do you want to guess which teams?
Carolina Panthers has got to be one.
I think Jags is pretty
I don't-
cheap right now too.
I don't think the Panthers right now because they have the Bucks who are trying to be division winners, and I think it's in Tampa, so I don't think it's that one. It'd probably MetLife because the Jets and the Giants suck.
Hold on.
But it is New York, so maybe, or New Jersey, so maybe not.
Quit leaving us in suspense, Keegan.
No, Carolina's in Atlanta.
Oh.
No, so the lowest score or the lowest price ticket is in Indianapolis, $10. The second lowest price
Pretty
ticket.
sure parking is more than $10.
The second
What
lowest
is like
price
incorporate that
ticket
into the price of the actual ticket?
is Dallas with $15.
Yeah, their standing room tickets, even to big games, are still only like $30 to $40. So that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, actually, I take that back. Lowest is in Tennessee, $5. You could get in for a foot long.
No, a footlong costs more.
It costs $6 now. I know I'm old.
Or now they cost more.
Can't even get in for. Yeah. No, I was just looking at these prices. So Atlanta lowest is 33, Dallas is 15, Green Bay, Chicago's 101, Tennessee's 5, Indy's 10, New England's 39, Philly's 91.
I was
You know,
gonna
this
say-
is
Tampa's-
always such a weird time of year because, like, I really want to enjoy the end of football, but almost no teams are playing for anything at this point. There's very few
Yeah.
that actually have something to go for. There's so many teams that are sitting or just don't care.
See, the
Yeah,
lowest one right
Texas
now
and
is
Chiefs
Detroit,
are-
$355 for the
Yeah.
division.
Kansas City is resting their starters. So their starters are going to have 24 days off between games.
Dang.
I think that's a bad call.
24
it's a
days, and
bad
I still
call,
hate
too.
Patrick Mahomes.
That's a lot of days off, dude. Like it really is.
Yeah.
In football time, that's forever.
Right. Well, hey, let's get to picking some games. I will give it to Grayson first, since Grayson won our championship, as well as his team plays first.
Oh,
Grayson, Cleveland's going to Baltimore.
I wanted to say something because of I was on the back stock. Grayson won because you traded him Devontae Adams.
I know.
Devontae
Devontae-
Adams has been on the winning team for 3 years in a row now. Me 2 years ago, you last year, and Grayson this year.
Look, I'll take what I can get, Brendan. Don't try to take this away from me.
Oh no, I was rooting for you, but especially since you're in my division. But I just thought that was really funny that Devontae Adams has now won 3 years in a row in our league.
All I know is Grayson has shown up to a lot more sports chats this year than Matt has. So in my book, the right man won.
Yeah, that too.
I'll take that too.
Brendan was just hoping it was anyone but Dark Horse.
We all were, Keegan. We all were.
Yeah.
His team, his team started out so good. They were 5-2. The Sun Hitters were 5-2. I was in third place in that division. Next thing you know, Sun Hitters and Dark Horse win one combined game the rest of the year.
Shit. Well, that's how wild this season was, man. It was like it felt like these past couple of years have just been weird seasons for football.
They've been real weird seasons, but yeah, I specifically this year, dude. 2024 is drunk. Like it needs to go home.
Yeah.
Like this whole
It is.
year has been.
After
It
this
needs
is
to go
it.
home, dude. Like
This is the night.
I know it. That's what I mean. Like let's put this thing to bed. But yeah, no, this you're exactly right though, Grace. Like this season has just been odd. It's just off.
Yeah, like it's like not even just football, like all major sport, like every single like major sporting avenue just feels like there's not like it feels like there's a change coming, but it's just not here yet.
I will say
And-
with a
yeah.
caveat to my Dodgers. Everybody knew that was coming. We paid a lot of money for that man, and he showed up for us.
Dude,
Honestly,
like-
I'm so glad because usually when teams spend like that,
Oh, it doesn't pay off.
at least not immediately. It's
No,
something
yeah.
that they nailed it.
Well, so because we have this conversation all the time, like me and my buddy who he's also a Dodgers fan. I was like, man, I don't know what we're gonna do if we paid all this money, did all these moves, and for all this like people, and then we lose or do like terribly. Because like it's one thing like to be like a fan of the Browns, right? Where you have like a shit team with like shitty players and like all that. You know what I mean? You're not spending money, you're not doing things to win. And it's a whole nother to like a team that does everything they possibly can. They spend all the money, all this kind of stuff, and they still lose. And you're like,
Hey,
I-
welcome to being a
that's
Dallas
even
Cowboy
worse. You know
fan.
what I mean? What'd you say, dude?
I said, welcome to being a Dallas Cowboy fan. We spend all the money, get all the talent, and don't do shit.
And don't do shit. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's exactly it. So I was gonna be super upset if my Dodgers lost this year. And luckily, like it was one of those things that they showed up. New York got cold at the right time, I think, is really what it was. Because they were hot through most of the playoffs until they got to that last series. And then it was like kind of had me a little bit nervous some of those games. But yeah, I was like, wow, New York they just couldn't hit.
Yeah, like
Oh, wow.
honestly, yeah, there was the World Series this year was
Boring.
almost a walk-in. Yeah,
Yeah, it was relatively boring.
Yeah,
So,
speaking
sorry,
of Ohtani,
cut you off there.
yeah, no, I mean like with Ohtani, I just don't think New York knew how to play against him because that dude, they did not know how to stop him in any way, shape, or form. And I mean,
Brendan,
I'm
I'll
always a
bring
fan
you
of
right back.
anybody but New York winning at anything, anytime possible, ever. So,
Bobby, how did you feel about the World Series?
The world. Let's see.
The Yankees?
Oh my god. I think the Dodgers deserved it. You know, they played better than us.
It was so I think it really came down to because most of the time baseball comes down to pitching, but
Yep.
the
It
entire
was
World
Dodgers
Series
had money
really
too.
did.
Dodgers had a lot of the guys.
Yeah, we had a lot of their numbers. It was one of those things we pitched them the right way, and they just couldn't hit it, and that's what saved us, I think. But I'm super glad that Ohtani got one because I feel like the Angels organization does nothing but squander absolute legends. Like I don't know how you can take like Mike Trout's entire career and just flush that down the toilet. So I'm glad he got out of there, and especially glad that he came to the Dodgers and got a ship finally. You know.
What was the money that paid the guy? The Yankees just paid a guy. Was it $300 million for
Something like that. Yeah, it's crazy when you pay a lot of money and then you lose and you don't do great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's pick some games for this week. Grayson, starting with you, since you're the winner, as well as it's your team.
I don't want to pick because you know what it's going to be.
But is
don't wanna bet.
Baltimore playing their starters? They might not be.
They're look, even if we get if we get third string, we're still gonna find a way to lose. It's just
It's the entire Browns versus the Ravens mascot, and they still lose.
exactly. Like, I mean, even Ray Lewis, if he was sitting there commentating on the game, his commentary would beat the Browns before anything else. I'm depressed that this is how it's ending. I'm depressed we're 3-14 because that's what it's going to be after this game. The Ravens are going to kill us. And yeah.
Hey, good draft position though.
Yeah.
Huh?
Good draft position though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that, but as per usual, I can't wait for us to pick, another Johnny Manziel, who is a horrible
I was going to say, good luck with Shador.
Dude, it's going to be so bad. Dude, I'm honestly, after this season, I will officially be a Bucks fan until Baker retires because I can't do this anymore. It's so bad.
I think
Bryson, they're going to win it all next year now. The Browns are going to just go undefeated now that you said that.
Right?
Fantastic. I will
Somebody
not be
clip
watching
that.
game.
Somebody clip Keegan saying that.
for posterity. Yeah, it's crazy how Baker had such a great year though. Like him, he had a great year, especially after having terrible time with Carolina or whatever. Like, it was just like one of those things. It's like it leads to the validity of like, at least I think it's valid. Like a lot of the times I think it really is the team sometimes.
Definitely fits Carolina.
Well, right, but it's the team, it's the organization, it's whatever, right? Like you've got Baker did great when he left. Two terrible teams, right?
Yeah.
You had Gino, you know what I mean, came out of nowhere. West Virginia dude, by the way, no big deal. When he goes to the Seahawks and dude plays his ass off or whatever for the past couple of years, and it's like maybe it is like a lot of the time it is the team or the system or whatever it is, and it's like sometimes the management's just awful.
Yeah, like look at the Cowboys, look at the Bears, look at just all these teams where just the owners are way too involved. It's just
look at the Bears.
It's just so like with like storied franchises, like I think the Packers are still staying above board, and so are like the Steelers, but the franchises that have just been the same management, the same owners, and the same everything just for decades, it's just so heavily toxic, and they refuse to change, and it does nothing but push good players away because. I knew from as soon as Baker hit the field and literally just was like in Hugh Jackson's face about just how bad of a coach he was after he got let go after like 4 games of the season. It was like, I was like, Baker Mayfield's the dude. If they let him go, it's the biggest mistake they'll ever make. And as soon as they did, it showed itself to be true. I mean, Freddie Kitchens was a bad pick. Like every decision that they've made since owning this team, the Haslams have made the worst decision possible. And
Grayson, I can understand that feeling. Having watched Caleb on Thursday when they were going to pull him and punt it with like 2:02 left in the game. And he was like yelling at the coach. And then they were like, no, let's put him back in the. I was like, yeah, you're not going to get the ball back. Your defense has played like crap. Like, at least go for the win, And of course, the Bears are going to probably pick a terrible coach. So there goes another year of Caleb. He got hit 90, almost 100 times, got sacked 67. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Not to change the subject, but does anybody else find it strange that now, like 3 or 4 times, anytime Bobby is in, he suddenly goes away before Brendan shows up, and then Brendan goes away and Bobby comes back, and then Bobby leaves.
Are you saying that they're Batman?
I'm just saying we haven't seen them in the same chat.
That's what I mean. Like it's just wearing a very highly made silicone face or what?
Oh my God, it's Grayson.
Oh. All right, so Scott, who are you taking, Baltimore or Cleveland?
Oh, you got to take Baltimore. I mean, it's not even really not worth talking about. It's going to be Baltimore.
Hey, to be fair, a Make-A-Wish kid out there might really, really want the Browns to win, and the Ravens are like, okay.
We're number 2 in the division anyway, so why not?
No, you guys are number 1 right now.
I'm not up on it. Can anybody tell me, do they have anything to play for? Like, will it change anything if they win or lose?
If they lose and Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh jumps them.
Okay, so they could technically lose their seating.
Yeah, so they're definitely not sitting. Lamar's out there. Lamar, Derrick
Okay.
Henry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Browns are losing.
Yeah, no, we're getting crucified aggressively.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if the Browns are going to show up to the game.
I think they're going to just put, Deshaun Watson just back onto the field, just injured and everything, just to let him get hit and hurt even worse.
They said we're going to run no linemen, Deshaun only. That's what we're doing.
Just go for it.
All right,
We're
so
gonna the entire game.
anyone raise their hand if they want to take the Browns. Otherwise, we'll just say we're all in unison for the Ravens.
Oh yeah, that's a bird. The birds are going all the way there on that one.
Oh, okay. So we'll move on. That's a Saturday game, 2:30. The other Saturday game is the same division. Apparently, it's just the North playing that day because it's
The
Cincinnati
Bengals,
going to the Steelers.
Man, I will say this time of year, it's crazy how much football there is. It's almost like every day there's at least one.
Oh,
game
last
on.
week was crazy.
Especially if you add in college games, like
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, you add college in there, and it's everything is, yeah, you're watching football pretty much,
and now that
every
Netflix
week.
can do Christmas football too on the actual day, like
And they did it well too. Like
they definitely improved from that Tyson fight.
yeah.
And I loved the graphics and stuff. I legit enjoyed the way Netflix did it. Aces to them. They did a great job.
I was gonna say, I think you can learn from others' mistakes on that one. Like, there's a lot of like bad examples of streaming, football games kind of thing.
Tuesday is the only day that the Kansas City Chiefs didn't play a football game this year.
Tuesday?
Mm-hmm. Tuesday.
They played a Wednesday game, a Thursday,
That was
a Friday
Christmas
game.
Thursday, Friday, Black Friday.
Wow. Huh.
Yep.
Good to know. Tuesday.
So we're saying we got to move the Super Bowl to Fat Tuesday. Because I think it's in New Orleans this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that party.
In the
Super
Sage
Bowl
Dome,
and
baby.
Mardi Gras.
Right?
Whew. Yeah, if only New Orleans could have kept it up. I like Spencer Rattler, but they have nothing else right now.
I think I give the Saints,
and I don't even like him.
within the next 5 years, the Saints are going to be back on top. I don't know if it's necessarily Super Bowl yet, but they're going to be one of the top caliber teams again.
Yeah, when you get the first round draft pick, top 10 for the past 5 years, you should be able to do something with that.
Now you hope.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like that. That's what I hope, right? Because it is one of those things. Like historically, we haven't been always like the best team, but it's because we're missing a quarterback, man. Like just plain and simple, we're missing a huge tried and true franchise guy that you can like build around and start from humble beginnings kind of thing or whatever. We're missing that hardcore. We just keep picking up all these older broken guys and be like, well, it's gonna work for now, I guess. Hopefully you win a game or two. But yeah, it's one of those things. I think we definitely gotta build it from, find a young guy and just try to build around him or something. Because
you can only have a makeshift team for so long.
Yeah, because right now that's what it is. It's a makeshift hodgepodge, team or whatever, just throwing them together. All right, go out there and have fun, I guess. We don't care if you win. So
just on a totally different side note what you were talking about, Nolan, that I just thought about is like, does anyone who misses having coaches that actually are like a personality, like your John Maddens, your
Ditkas,
Ditka, like the actual like coaches that built like championship teams that were like your Bill Belichick's, your just all those dudes from that old guard type of coaching mentality that actually made football what was so great in the late 80s and early 90s. Like, you know what I mean?
I will say, yeah, like it's one of those things, like, because you like the legendary coaches, right? Like is one of those things. It's like, who they are because they had like a personality. Like I can't remember like any like legendary coaches that like dude was just quiet and very, very calm, very demure, like on the sidelines, like didn't have any personality, didn't win. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember any coaches like that are legendary.
I want a coach that's going crazy on the sidelines.
Yeah,
and saying
that's what I'm saying.
Stuff
like
in the press conference, like almost like a wrestling thing, where they're like, "We're gonna beat," like that's what.
1000%. And that's what Grayson's saying is like you're right. Like the coach, like
he builds the team, he sets the tone.
His demeanor, if you will, his charisma and demeanor and kind of things like that. Like there's not a lot of coaches like that anymore.
Would you say Dan Campbell is one of them? Biting kneecaps.
Bite kneecaps.
Yeah, that was his like introductory press conference. He was gonna like bite kneecaps. I think Sirianni had an interesting press conference, Brendan,
Oh, yeah.
right?
He said, which one?
Ooh, you know what, Grayson? To your point, though, you know who I think does have a little bit of personality? The Dolphins coach. He's
McDonald.
Yes.
yeah, he's got some personality. He's a little weird. He's kind of quirky, weird dude. But that's what
Yeah, he
like
says some weird
got some
stuff
flavor
sometimes.
to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he can't
Yeah,
win in
he's
the
out
cold,
there.
so
But
But I
I was
mean,
like,
even-
they win games. You know what I mean? They kind of follow him, and they, you know, I think Sean McVay is another one. I think is one of the ones that has a little bit of personality to him. Happens to be a
Boo.
younger guy, and
Boo.
look, I'm just calling it like I see it. All right, I'm
No,
not.
Sean McVay is a good coach.
But
There
I mean,
was
even,
talk like 2 years ago. People were like, "He's going to retire." I'm like, "No way, he retires."
Dude's like 27. He's not gonna
Yeah.
retire. Knock it off.
They're like, "He's already won a Super Bowl." I'm like, "Is that just like everyone's goal? Like, all right, I won one. Let's go home." Like,
Right? Yeah, that's
only
usually not
want
how it
one.
works. Well, no, I mean, like, and even then, like one of the greatest ones, like Bill Belichick, definitely has a personality. Like it just is, he's him. It's like Belichick is Belichick.
That's
It's just,
that's how he's got that 23-year-old girlfriend, right? She likes his personality.
oh, 1000%. Usually in that situation, we say deep pockets or big rockets, but you know, it's definitely his personality, David.
all right, so Scotty, Bengals win. They're still alive for the playoff spot. Steelers win. They have a chance for the division title. Who do you got? It's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh, but I'm going to go with the Bengals. Burrow and Chase and Higgins, they've gotten themselves on the same page, all three of them, and I think they're pretty tough to stop right now. So, yeah, it's going to be Cincinnati on this one. Still could be close, but it'll be Cincinnati.
Nolan, what about you?
My nephew and his dad are Steelers fans. So I kind of just want to go against them and just call it in the Bengals' favor for just to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? But realistically, I think it'll probably end up being the Steelers. It's just the Bengals have like they were bad and then they were like decent, but I wouldn't say they're good now. They're just there.
Joe Burrow's really good. He's having like MVP caliber season.
And it's one of those things
Just
that I
the
was
defense.
like, to be fair, I also I like me some Joey Burrows, some Joe Shiesty. I like him. It was one of those things like last year, I think it was last year or the year before that. I won my fantasy league because of a late Joey Burrow pickup. I was like, what? No one's got this dude? Ended up picking him up, and dude killed it for me for the rest of the year, and ended up winning the league that year. So for me, I'm going Bengals.
David.
I think it's going to be the Steelers. I don't think the Bengals have the consistency they need to get it done. Besides Joe Burrow, I don't think anybody on that team has the heart that they need to have. And I think if the Steelers make a deep enough run, this may be the coach's last year.
It's still Tomlin, right?
Yeah, I think he might be ready to step out of it. He's been there for so long, you know. I mean, he could keep going, but I could also see like if they won a Super Bowl, I think he might take that as an opportunity to be like, I'm out. But I think they're going to do it. I think they struggled the beginning of the year. They've really come together. I feel like as a team, like on the whole, they're more into it. I think that they're all collectively on the same page a little better than the Bengals are. And the Bengals almost lost to the Dallas Cowboys just a couple weeks ago.
Well, you know what they say, David, any given Sunday or whatever.
I mean, to be fair, the Steelers did lose to the Dallas Cowboys, but at least we had our full team when that happened. Also, if they're playing in Pittsburgh, from experience of being there, it's a brutal place to play. Like, it's
middle of winter in Pittsburgh is not super. Then again,
Cincinnati's not that much better.
I was like, Cincy's not much better in the winter either. So
but I would have to say, I just think they're about evenly matched, but I think there's more cohesiveness. I think they're a better team as a unit with the Steelers. So I think it's going to be a close one, but I think they're going to pull it off at the end. They're managed to squeak through and get it. And I think they make it to at least second round of playoffs.
Brendan.
I think the Bengals have more to play for, and they're more willing. So I think the Bengals upset the Steelers. The Steelers fall to the 6th seed and have to go into Baltimore round 1.
They probably beat
Worst case
Baltimore too.
scenario for them, to be honest. But
Hey, they play good against Baltimore.
I'm just saying
Grayson,
that'd be a fun matchup round 1.
what about you? Who do you think?
Honestly, I feel pretty similar to David. The Steelers are probably going to be the one that win this. They have a lot more kind of just on the line because, as David said, I think Mike Tomlin, this is going to be one of his last couple of years, if not his last year, because you can kind of tell he's ready to get out. You kind of see it just in the way he's coaching. He's still doing well, but I think he's ready to get out of Pittsburgh because he's been there, I think, almost, if not his whole entire career.
Well, I think since 2008, right? 2009.
It's well over a decade.
yeah, he's more
it's,
than 10
he's ready to
years.
go.
Yeah,
And I mean, with the Bengals, with Joe Burrow being in his Dennis Rodman era, with the bleached hair and just being out there guy for whatever reason this season, I don't think he's the Joe Burrow that led the Bengals to their first, Super Bowl. He's definitely on some sort of identity crisis right now, and you can kind of feel that, especially with the way he plays with the team.
Grayson, he bought a Batmobile. He's Batman.
Tell me that's not Dennis Rodman vibes, and I'll call
you
you
are
on
Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, next thing we're gonna see
next.
off season. We're gonna see Joe Burrow visiting North Korea.
I 100%
Marry himself.
Face tattoos, looking like a mumble rapper when he comes into the next season. It's going to be bizarre.
Him and Post Malone.
Anyway,
okay.
I mean, hey, when you roll in the same circles, you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Absolutely.
But,
Plus, I feel like you got to factor in. I think Russell Wilson's hungrier for a big win.
If Russ,
what happened with
starts,
Denver, he's wanting to get in there and do something with it.
He wants to prove that he's still got it in him.
yeah, but Pittsburgh's
dangerous.
playing with the idea of putting Justin in.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think either, but this is
Why
like the most talk I've heard about it since.
when it comes down, I just feel like you got to give the ball to Russell Wilson. And if I have to pick between him or Joe Burrow to lead me to the finish line, it's close. But like Grayson said, the way that Burrow has been, I just feel like I got a little more trust in Russell Wilson if I have to pick.
Maybe it's because I saw him from the 1 yard line that one
But,
time. I was on my team.
I could be wrong, and they're both very prone to mistakes.
Hella suspect.
So
It's not necessarily the quarterbacks. I trust the Steelers defense way more than I trust the Bengals defense.
Well, I also trust
That's
the
where I
Steelers
really
than
think
their
it's going to
actual,
come down to, because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are better than I think any of the
Then
Steelers.
Russell Wilson and whoever.
George Pickens.
Pickens or whatever. Yeah.
Any of the
okay.
Steelers offense.
let's put it this way: if you were on a team, are you going to play harder for Joe Burrow or for Russell Wilson? You think?
Joe Burrow.
Well,
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. I was like Joe Shiesty, but that's only because Russell Wilson apparently is a cancer these days in locker rooms.
In that
I
case,
mean-
you might play like shit just to get rid of him.
Oh yeah, looks like we're getting rid of him. Oh, he played terrible. Oh, I dropped that ball. You threw it too far or something. I don't know. You're a bad quarterback. Bye.
Threw it right to the cornerback on the 1 yard line that could have won the Super Bowl. But
First of all,
why'd you check out of the?
We don't
the
talk
red
about
play?
that, Keegan.
first of all,
I'm sorry,
Keegan,
I've been scarred.
that play hurts my soul for the simple fact that you have Marshawn Lynch 3 feet away from the goddamn end zone, and you're not going to give him the ball. Like, seriously?
Look, Keegan, you were making such good progress, and you took yourself back.
It's because I wore my Marshawn Lynch jersey the other
So,
day.
just looking at it from
I
an
have one.
entertainment standpoint, though, which team would be more entertaining and have better storylines for them to go far?
Probably
I
the
mean,
Bengals.
imagine-
League?
Imagine Joe Burrow rolling up to like the AFC Championship in the Batmobile.
That'd be cool.
Why are you so
That-
stuck
no,
on the Batmobile,
No,
Keegan?
I'm not.
Because they only made like 5, and Joe Burrow has one.
Yeah, he has one of the
The
tumblers.
Dark
dude.
Knight
He's a
tumblers. Yeah.
Gangster. Like, come on.
Like,
can't drive
it's
it
cool,
anymore.
but
No, if he ever
like,
ends up
it shows
being one of
mental
those,
status of this quarterback, he's just not. He's not
if-
there.
if he ever ends up being one of those quarterbacks that's like down on his luck and like has to work at a used car dealership or something, I will have no sympathy for him.
That's tough.
That bro went and wasted million. Like people have houses for way less than what he spent on that car.
Okay,
But
so
David, what if he rolled up to the game wearing an Abnormal Voyages T-shirt?
I would be upset.
I'd be upset. Dude, so, and it's one of those, because
I would call and be like, "Where is my appearance fee for using my brand?"
for using my brand, there's a tax on that. As you see, my
Send me the
thousands
Batmobile and we'll call it even.
of pairs- some people don't understand why I spend so much money on shoes. Like, it's something that you like, really, like realistically, you know.
What happened to the good old days of just like, hookers in Vegas? Like, come on, let's get back to real football, guys.
Let's get back to real athletes. You know, you just
Yeah.
The
What
days
happened?
of Michael
What
Jordan.
happened?
doing blow and gambling. What happened to those guys? They had
Dallas
edge.
Cowboys did amazing when cocaine was the thing to do. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's get back
So
to
did the
those
Bears,
things.
apparently.
if your bathroom does not look like a Scarface bathroom, what are we doing?
What do we do? You call yourself a professional athlete? What is
Yeah.
this?
If somebody can't walk
Yeah.
into your house and for a minute think you might be a Colombian drug lord, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, like, it wasn't HGH back in the day. It was HGH with a lot of cocaine.
Wasn't it Michael Irvin that would like show up to like practices just like completely sloshed?
Probably, but he got the
Probably.
job
I
done.
was
So
like-
who cares?
Yeah.
No, he was a great receiver. I mean, just the Dallas team in the 90s, just every piece of it being in the Hall of Fame pretty much is amazing. You don't see that much.
I think they started making it being like, kids look up to you. Need to set an example. I think that's when football died.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of football dying, Carolina, Atlanta, Scott.
Carolina and Atlanta. Well, now that Michael Penix is running the show there for the Falcons, he was zipping the ball around pretty good this past week. But at the same time, Carolina has been playing better the last few weeks. I'm going to then go to the home team, and we'll go with Atlanta for this game because Falcons will be at home. We'll go for that one.
Nolan.
As much as I don't want to say this, I'm gonna go with Atlanta because let's be real here, the Carolina Panthers are absolute dog water. There's no argument there. So, at least in my opinion, there's no argument there. I don't think Atlanta's that great either, but you know what I mean. They're doing better than us, so I can't really talk too much shit. You know?
David.
I think the Falcons. I think Bijan's gonna have another big day. I think it'll be enough to run right over him.
Make sure you grab some of that
Red.
mustard too. You know, some Bijan's Dijon, baby.
Nolan, who's your most hated team?
My most hated team?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Or like, who do you think is your biggest rival? Or
for the teams that I like, or just just a team that I
in
hate.
general? Both.
If you were to say Denver, we wouldn't be mad.
No,
None of
but
us
it's
would
not
be
though,
mad.
but it's not though, right? And that's the thing is I really don't hate teams, right? Like I generally like even like players that play for like teams that I'm not a big fan of the team. I do like the players that play for them. So it's like one of those things like I don't truly have like a man, fuck those guys. You know what I mean? Like I don't have anything like that. But it is
The
one of
only
those
team
ones
I feel that way about is Kansas City.
I will say the one team that I have the most disdain for, probably because I am a Dodgers fan, is the Yankees, the New York Yankees. That's probably like my most disliked team of all.
Oh yeah, White Sox, easy. Anti-White Sox.
And anti-White Sox, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's for baseball. For football, that's, I've never been a fan of the Raiders. That's
Whoa, let's bring on noted Raider fan Bobby. Bobby, did you hear what he's
they do.
Talk about your team, Bob. Come on.
I'm a Raider hater.
The
Through and
Raiders,
through.
the Raiders do suck though, so not wrong there.
No.
David, you were muted.
Bobby, I heard you actually have a Raiders tattoo. Can we see it?
No, I don't.
It's a tramp stamp.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
He did have a fan send him a Raiders hat, but you said Tony?
Tony didn't. He didn't. That's Tony.
Yeah.
He's back at the store now. I don't see anything.
Did you ask him if he got that hat from one of the...
He didn't say anything. He hasn't said too much lately.
Well, yeah, he probably won't want to say he took your hat. So, Bobby, Atlanta, Carolina.
I think Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yep. He's got things going the right way.
Okay. That's good. We'll go back to Brendan. Not a noted Raider hater unless you haven't said anything, but Brendan. Atlanta, Carolina.
I am choosing Atlanta. I was just he's a Saints fan, and I don't know much about Nolan, so I was just wondering.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's one of those things that I used to like Mike Vick back in the day, so like Atlanta's like relatively okay with me for the most part. But
Until the dog thing came out, right?
yeah, well, obviously,
we're very
Yeah,
we're very pro dog on this channel.
we're
Right?
pro animal. Yeah, we're very pro animals
No,
here.
specifically dogs.
Just dogs though.
No, we like everything else is pretty cool, but
Cats
dogs
can
in
suck.
particular.
We did have a certain something that happened with a person that didn't like dogs. Grayson.
Yeah.
Cats or birds?
Cats or birds?
Cats
I
or
hate
birds.
cats. So no.
I mean, a falcon could probably do some damage. They're pretty big.
Honestly, well, I mean, it's a team that can actually, play the game. It's not, going up like Carolina's got nothing. They've got nothing going in. They're gonna have nothing coming out. The Falcons are at least, they finally found their footing a little bit. I mean, it took them a whole season, but that happens when you have transitional periods like the Falcons have had for a while. But I feel like they're kind of getting the groove going, and hopefully they can kind of keep this rolling into the next season. But I don't think Carolina's not walking away with the W. It's at home for Atlanta. It's an easy game for them to win.
Yeah, for all the hoopla and just like confusion we had with them picking Penix at number 8. Even though Brendan kept picking Penix to go there, we have video of it, and I was like, "Oh, Brendan did it." But I mean, smart decision because Kirk, they paid him a ton of money. He just doesn't look healthy. Obviously, the pretty major injury.
I will say, and you can quote me on this any day of the week, or ask anybody that I've ever talked sports about. Kirk Cousins is a bum any day of the week.
Whoa.
Yeah, I went there. That's how I feel about it.
Like that.
Justin Jefferson saved him so much in Minnesota.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I was in Atlanta earlier this year, and he washed my window so well. I pulled up on the street corner. He was there with the spray bottle. It was a rental, but I was still happy to have him do it.
Still good. Yeah,
I gave him $2. It was great.
See, Nolan, what you didn't know is we have a special guest tonight. His name is Kirk Cousins. Let me bring him on. No,
Please. I will tell Kirk to his face, and I will ask him if he likes that.
I mean,
He likes being a bum, okay?
Kirk Cousins is almost at the level where I could almost believe he would show up on this.
Oh,
This might-
just
this
randomly
might
be like, oh, great. When I
This
have
might
to-
be the
I
level
work
of
here.
publicity that he needs. So
him or Nick Cage. You're like 50-50 on either of them.
I would love if Nick Cage. He has the type. He's the type that'd be like, okay, why not?
And coming from a big family like Cage has come from, you wouldn't expect that. But he just shows up wherever. He's like, yeah, I don't care.
Like Willy's Wonderland was amazing. It took him like a month to shoot that. And dude, he was just like, okay, sure, I'll just show up and play a pinball machine and kill animatronics.
Was it better than Five Nights at Freddy's?
I think he had like 100
Yes.
words in the whole movie.
He didn't say anything the entire movie.
He had a couple of lines, I thought.
No.
Did he not at all?
No. He literally says nothing the entire movie. And I think there's one part where he laughs. And that's it. But I was like, oh, he's really not gonna say anything this entire movie. Yeah, it was amazing though. So check out Willy's Wonderland if you haven't seen it. If you get a chance, it's a pretty good watch. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think Kirk is. Like I said, I like players more than teams sometimes, and I think Kirk Cousins is a bum. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, give me Atlanta as well. I just think Penix is starting to kind of run the game, and I don't know. I like Bryce Young. He's come back. He's shown a lot of just moxie and mental strength after getting benched and coming back and playing a lot. He's outplaying CJ Stroud.
Dude, well, you have to be mentally strong to play for the Panthers. It's one of those things that I give a lot of credit.
But
I give a lot of credit to Baker, man. It took a lot of mental fortitude to play for the Browns like that. You know what I mean? And still be in the league after
Yeah.
that to come back and kick ass, or because it's like 2 teams in a row, the Browns and then the Panthers, and then to go to like Tampa or whatever and be showing out or whatever. It's like that takes a lot of mental fortitude, man. Because
Dude, it's like
that. It's crazy.
It's like being the president. You just see yourself age 15 years after you play for the Cleveland Browns. It's insane.
It's crazy. Yeah. Baker was 23 when he started. He was 40 when he was done 2 years later. It's crazy.
Like you can, like, he changed like spiritually almost. You can kind of just see it in his face. You're like, that man has been through some shit.
Yeah. This broke me.
Yeah, he's like, never again.
Never again. Yeah. Never again.
So it looks like Boise State has just scored another touchdown. So 17-14 Penn. So at least it's delivering the first close game of the college playoffs. So this is good. Yeah, so I'm taking Atlanta. David, we're going off to you next. It's in Jerry World. Cowboys hosting the Commanders, and I do believe Commanders are sitting their starters.
Yeah, the Redskins are going to win.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn said that they're playing to win. They're not sitting.
They have nothing to win. They are stuck.
No, Dan Quinn wants to shove it to the Cowboys as much as he can.
If they win, they can get the 6th seed.
There's that, but also that's kind of a, I don't know if it's a rivalry because Dallas sucks, but you know what I mean. It's generally one of their.
You always want to beat the team because Dan Quinn stuck around here because he was promised to get the head coach job, and then he got overlooked is why he left. So I'm sure he's thrilled doing as great as he is, and I think he's a much better coach than McCarthy personally. It was stupid to keep McCarthy over Quinn.
Well, that, and I think Washington's the better team. Like they've just been playing better.
Yeah,
I was so happy when Quinn left. I was so sad when he stayed in the division.
Brendan, tell us how you feel. Scott, who you taking?
For which one?
Commanders, Cowboys.
Oh, Commanders. Oh, Commanders. We're sitting here talking bad about the Cowboys, and it's all true. So yeah, Commanders are going to run roughshod over the Cowboys on this one.
We'll see. I know somebody that will take the Cowboys. Let me bring him in now. Bobby, you're taking the Cowboys?
Who are they playing?
The Commanders.
I got to go with the Commanders. I think they're going to beat Dallas somehow.
All right, Bobby has spoken. He will return later.
I appreciate that he said we'll beat them somehow, as if it was like, oh, how are they going to pull this off?
Like it was going to be a competition, like it was going to be difficult.
All right, so we're just old Commanders. Is that what I'm feeling right now?
So, because I got to head out here in a minute. I'm just going to run down the list real quick and give you the rest of the picks for me and let you guys go about it. So definitely going with the Commanders. I'm going to take the Packers over the Bears because the Bears suck, right? Like just let's call it what it is. What else do we got? The Buccaneers are going to absolutely Baker's going to run a train on my Saints. Too easy. No qualms, no fight on that one. Obviously I'm going to go with Buffalo Bills Mafia all the way. What else we got? The Chargers and the Raiders. The Chargers are doing great right now. The Raiders suck. So that's not super hard of a pick there. I feel like it's a toss-up right now between the Cards and the Niners because those are both like bottom middle teams that are just kind of there to hang out and just play football, and that's about it. No one's really trying to win. But I'm gonna go with the dark horse here. I'll say the Cards. We'll pick the Cardinals over the Niners. Chiefs and the Broncos. As much as I don't want to do it, I think the Chiefs are definitely going to beat the Broncos.
Even though they're sitting all of their starters.
Oh, are they sitting all their starters? Oh, well, yeah, because I guess they don't need to.
They're locked into the first seed no matter what.
Yeah, but it's Carson Wentz. He'll outplay Denver.
I was going to say it's not. Yeah, I was like, even though it's second stringers, it might not be.
It's not like we're playing Sam Howell or something in this game,
right? I don't know. I think it depends on which version of the Broncos show up. Early in the season, Broncos absolutely not. Middle to later, possibly they might give them a game. You know what I mean? little bit seasoned, got some games in them. They're a little they play a little bit better, a little more cohesive, right? And to be honest, I kind of like Bo Nix. Kid's pretty good. And then let's see here. Ooh, the Seahawks and the Rams. I'm gonna go with Gino on this one. I want to go with the Seahawks over the Rams, even though the Rams have been kind of hot lately.
Well, they are sitting their starters too.
The Rams are sitting their starters, or the
Yeah, because they're locked in.
Oh yeah, okay. Well then, it's definitely going to be the Seahawks, just because they're going to go out there and be like, okay, let's go steal a game if we can, right? Going with the Dolphins over the Jets because the Jets are they absolutely are a mess. That's putting it nicely, Keegan. A mess is the nice thing to call the Jets right now.
Or as we call them, the New York Rodgers.
The New York Rodgers. Yeah. Just that.
Not that Grayson's complaining. Rodgers did get Adams the ball enough that he won the game.
Oh sure, but it is one of those things. Like it's just that whole team is a dumpster fire right now, and they were slated to be actually pretty solid, and they sent it. Let's see, and then as good as the Vikings did, are the Lions are also locked in for sure. They sit
No, if Lions lose, the Vikings get first seed. If Lions win, they get first seed.
That'll be a tough one, but I'm still gonna go with the Lions on that one. I'm gonna go Detroit. They've just been solid. They've been killing it all year, like overall. But the Vikings will give them a hard game for sure. I think that'll probably be one of the better games of the weekend, to be quite honest.
It is the most expensive one to go to, so hopefully.
Right, and I'm not saying that. Well, but also I think to some degree it is because both teams are fighting for something that it actually might be a good game. But they're also I think relatively even matched. I think the Dolphins. I think the Lions are a little bit better, but you know. So, but that's my picks for the rest of the week.
Question for you real quick.
Yeah, what's up, Dave?
Why are you not in our fantasy league?
Because I didn't hook up with you guys or link up or join any of this stuff until about 2 months ago.
We should try to find a spot for Nolan if he's interested in doing it.
Yeah,
I would talk about it later, but I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, I would.
I think Brendan knows a spot he would give up in there.
I mean, I think it's time, Keegan. I'll second that motion right now.
I actually want to talk to you about
it. 8, 10, 12? What do you?
12.
14.
14.
Oh, is it 14? Yeah, but it's also a keeper league, so.
A keeper league?
Which I have been very much saying that we should start over this year.
You're the only one.
No keepers.
Oh, it's if you that's the one if you draft them in the first whatever rounds or some shit. You can't get rid of them, right?
No, you can, but you literally keep everybody on your team one season to the next. It's like a real NFL team.
Oh.
You can keep everybody. Usually most people keep about 10, 12.
Yeah. Interesting.
See, Keegan, if we cut loose, so I think we're talking about cutting loose, and we do a fresh start, that would just be chef's kiss on the whole scenario.
Right? See, the champion, the reigning champ, supports this. So I think that's...
Well,
not to be swinging my weight around, but I am a winner here.
You know what, Bryson? I saw you sign in some memorabilia in Kansas. I'm going to have to take away your title now.
Do you see this?
Erroneous.
Tower has gone to
I mean, of course, we have plenty of time to all discuss this and what we want to do. I just want to put out there that Nolan, if you're interested, I'd love to have you be on.
Yeah, 1,000%. It's one of those things that I've only played in one. I don't know. I try to keep it to 1 to 2, but I think I'm gonna drop the one that I'm in, the military league or whatever. It was a bunch of military guys that were in my unit that I've been in for the past couple years. So so I'm free agent, if you will. You know what I mean? Looking to sign a new contract here, find a new league.
Got to recruit him.
Nolan, before you leave too, in case people weren't watching last night or any other time you've been on, where can people find your awesome work you do?
So you can find me and some of my works on the YouTubes with Ghostbusters TXRRT. And you can also find us on Instagram for Ghostbusters TX. And then if you want to just see like my face in general, you know what I mean? It's not super great, but if you want to check that out, my personal Instagram is Pacific_Nomad34. And I got some pretty cool pics and cons and stuff like that on there. So, but that's where you guys can find me and check me out. So.
And harass you to join a fantasy football
And
league.
harass me to do it. Yeah. Oh, look, I don't know if it's harassment if you want to leave, you know what I mean? And join it.
Even if you're not in our league, if you just want to send him a no, I'm just kidding. It's like, yo, Nolan, go join that league they were talking about.
Well, it's funny because like it's like I've even got like friends that are like they'll send me some pics. I'm like, yeah, what's the team looking like? And like, oh, I got this guy. And I'm like, yeah, you should play, some other guy. And then I'm like, wait, who are you playing this week? And then like I'll go on to him and be like, hey, you should probably play blah 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 against
The team you would take over would have CJ Stroud. So,
all right. Well, I would have. I feel like we should fresh start it. You know what I mean? Just so I can actually like build. You know what I mean? Like a team that like instead of kind of just like
either that, or I was also willing to compromise and be like, let's limit it to like 4. Like you can keep 4 people of your whole team, or something like that. Like a limit to give it a chance to have some of those better players out there.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you can't sit on Patrick Mahomes for 10 years. You know what I mean?
They will. They will.
And that's what I mean, right? Like you will, but like it's like oof, and maybe have that like after like 4 years, like maybe you gotta.
I mean, Grayson's had David Njoku for like 8-9 years.
Oh man, yeah.
I've had Baker since he signed on because nobody thought he'd be a good quarterback, and then I got Njoku because he was same thing, sleeper
picks, man. Absolutely.
But yeah, man, you have a good night. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's, guys. Like I said, I'll catch you guys on the next one.
We'll see you next year.
Oh, that's so good. All right.
Thank you for joining us, Nolan.
Absolutely. Yep. Like I said, love being on, guys. Love hanging out. Love bullshitting. Talk about stuff that I like. So, like I said, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh. God, fuck that guy. Am I right?
Where'd you find that one?
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, Keegan, for real. If we're gonna bring Nolan in, if certain teams were readjusted, I would not be against that. In all honesty,
I wouldn't be opposed to going back to only 10 keepers per year.
10?
That's how it was when we started.
No, we need to go to like 6.
I'd say 6 people at most if we're gonna do something like that.
So we'll compromise at 5.
All right, sounds like we're going to 9.
7.5.
I'm actually gonna expand it. 72.
I'm out.
Hey,
I'm out of the league. I'm sorry, guys.
It doesn't allow you.
Keegan, somebody in somebody's league, and I was in this type of league. They play like every position,
like a best league, whatever.
I don't know, but they play like every position. So you draft, a middle linebacker and a.
We tried that. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. But anyways, somebody played the Bears punter, and they won their championship because they played the Bears punter Thursday night.
Well, the Bears' offensive line is terrible. I mean, I don't even know where to start with them. I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about the Bears.
And this is something that, of course, we can talk about way later, but I also would not be opposed to possibly something like a small fee, like $5 or something, so that people actually stay involved throughout the season.
No.
Just something to keep people from not just blowing it off like what we've seen happen.
Did Scott just
or potentially maybe a forfeit from whoever's in last place, like some kind of silly thing they have to do, like shave their head or something like that. Just
a bad tattoo.
That's going a little far, but sure.
I mean, depending on the team too. If it was a certain team that was, the center of a lot of drama a couple of years back, I think it'd be justified. But
David wasn't there for the drama. He doesn't know.
I think I was last
place.
A lot of
fun drama though. That actually made it kind of fun. And
what happened?
So the team that we're talking about,
Was it the same
You
team that
know
was inactive this year, basically?
No.
No, they were.
We're
They
talking about
started.
They were really
did this
good.
where they did the past couple of years, where they just start trading everybody they have, and then begging you to give them players because they want to win that badly. Yeah. So he went on this whole tirade of like, this is unfit. Like he picked up a team, had the same chances where we all kind of like put in the same time.
Drafted Tim Tebow as a tight end.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah. Stellar picks all around. But anyway, started off doing that. And then what ended up happening was he literally just went to like Keegan, Rendon, a couple other people that had been in the league for a while, and he was just like begging them for picks. Like he would trade like half of his roster for one, mediocre like receiver that was about to retire anyway because he was in his mid-30s, like just stuff like that. And he would just bomb the chat all the time, being like, "Why won't you accept my trade? Accept it or deny. Accept it or deny." And you're like, "Dude,
He was
calm
trying
down."
to do
Sympathy.
bring down the top tier.
Yeah, try to pull a little
football
communism,
race to power over the
communism coup.
better teams.
I mean, as somebody who just came in last year, I mean, I'm still at least, starting to climb up decently without all of that.
And see, that's what you do. But he was like, "I want this now. You're going to give it to me now." And we're like, "My guy, this is your first season. Relax."
You had Tim
That's a
Tebow.
calm down.
Didn't even make the team.
And then he's like, "I hate this entire thing. I'm not playing again next year." And
That
then
was
he
the
shows
last
up
place
draft,
this
and we're
year.
like, just why?
It looks like Penn State scored again, so it's now 24-14.
Yeesh.
Oof.
So, I mean, it's only third quarter. Boise does have the ball. They could score again, make it 24-21. Oh, I don't know. Grayson, let's just go one by one. David, we already did the Cowboys. I'll say Chicago. They won't. They're going to probably have Caleb get sacked like 10 times so they break the all-time sack record. But, I'll say, oh, man. I don't want them to win because then they'll be like, oh, we can bring back Thomas Brown. Don't. Just sell the team. It's terrible. Does anyone want to pick Chicago? Everyone's on Green Bay.
I will be a cheesehead on this pick.
Okay. I mean, I kind of think, oh, here we go. Speaking of a certain team's logo, the Houston Texans taking on the Tennessee Titans. I'll take the Titans just because Tennessee's been a garbage. They're both garbage. Just Houston got off to a decent start. David?
I think Houston's going to take it. I mean, they're actually in the playoffs. I think they need this win to make their season look a little more legitimate and get some momentum going. Otherwise, they're going to be out first round.
They might be playing Russell Wilson first round.
They'd probably lose.
They probably would. Grayson, Tennessee, Houston.
Yeah, Houston's going to take it all the way. Tennessee went from possible contender a couple of years ago to just turquoise turds. It's bad. I'm going with God, I'm talking like I'm having a stroke.
Grayson, do you want me to
Team
call the medical
Texans,
team?
horns, things, Texas people. That one.
Texas.
All right, so David, Grayson picked University of Texas to win their bowl game.
I sure did.
Brendan, see, this made sense. Texas, we're going to another Texas fan. It works,
Titans, I think. I don't know. Houston's probably benching or sitting their starters since they don't have anything to play for. So Tennessee might get a win and maybe not. They might lose on purpose so that they can keep that top seed or top 3 seed.
But I think we could have said that about the Giants last week.
That is true.
But that was the Giants trying hard.
Hey, Drew Lock got 5 total touchdowns. That was something.
Scotty, Houston or Tennessee?
Gotta go with Houston. Houston's rolling.
Bobby?
Houston.
All All right, who's up next? Oh, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Scott, and Indy.
That's going to be the sole saving grace for the Colts for this one, is that it's in Indy. So I'm going to go with the Colts at home.
Bobby,
Colts at home.
Brendan.
I think the Colts. I really hope Doug Peterson is fired on Monday.
It's almost like he was like something with the Eagles at one point or something. Grayson.
Colts, Jags.
You guys built a statue, Brendan. Doug Peterson is outside your stadium.
Yeah, sadly.
Keegan, what's the game we're talking right now?
Jags Colts.
Yeah, give me the Colts. The Jags are leopard print or jaguar printed turds. They're not going to do anything. Yeah, give me the Colts.
David.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Colts, even though their year has just been so up and down and makes no sense at all. It could go either way, but I think they'll pull this one off just because it would be a weird cap to a weird year.
Yeah, give me Indy as well. I don't know. I think Flacco's starting again. I don't know.
See, and that's right away. That's super weird. Like,
yeah. But I think Richardson's hurt, but I don't know what happened. He just was hurt one day. So that's why Flacco played last week. But yeah, the Jaguars, they have so much talent too, which is just so weird. And that's why I think it is coaching with them. Just because, like, I feel like they have too many pieces to be this bad. I mean, granted, too, Mac Jones is their starting quarterback this week too, so that might help. Let's see, New England, Buffalo, Scott.
Let's see. Who? Thing is are they going to play Allen or not? I think because was Josh Allen's got his game streak going along, get starting, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's going to start.
So it could be that. Yeah, so he'll take the they'll win the coin flip. They'll take the ball, and then one play for Josh Allen, and then off he goes. In which case, it then becomes even then the backups for the Bills are still going to be better than anybody on the Patriots. So it's still going to be the Bills Mafia running over the Patriots.
Bobby.
Buffalo.
Brendan.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably going to be Buffalo. New England wants the. Or is New England in line to get the first pick?
Yeah, if they lose, they're number one.
Why even try to win then?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to draft Travis Hunter number one.
Grayson, what about you?
I think even if the Bills try to lose this game, they're still going to win. So that's all I got to say about that. Give me the Bills.
They just start throwing passes backwards into their own end zone, and somehow they're getting points.
Exactly. Like, I honestly think if Josh Allen was to just complete a pass every single time to just one of the throw pick six or just throw a pick, and they would still be able to get it back in the same just go around with how bad the New England is right now.
What game? It was like it might have been Buffalo when Nathan Peterman played or something, where if he had just gotten sacked every game or every play, they would have won. But because he threw like 6 interceptions or something, they lost.
Sounds like a Raider thing.
No, he played for Buffalo, I think.
I was going to say, I think he also played for the Raiders, and I thought
Gruden brought him in. Gruden was like, he's going to be a great quarterback. Maybe we shouldn't trust Gruden with quarterbacks. David.
I think he needs to be tested with CTE.
Yeah. 100% it's going to be the Bills. I mean, not only do they have a reason to play, New England literally has a reason to lose.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense for them to try to win that game. They're going to play just well enough that they're not going to get fined for obviously throwing the game. But beyond that, I don't see any world that the Patriots win that game.
Hey, in a world where we saw the Carolina Panthers have like $2 tickets and no one in their stands, the NFL might be like, "Oh, it's fine if they throw it." At least people showed up. Yeah, I think Buffalo wins it pretty easy as well. Brings us to our next one. I got 3 questions. Brennan, we'll kick it off to you. Philadelphia is hosting New York. A, who wins? B, does Barkley play? And C, is he breaking the record if he plays?
Yes, Eagles win. Yes, he plays a half, and yes, he breaks a record.
All right, Grayson.
Sorry, I got distracted. What's the game we're talking about?
Philadelphia.
Philly Giants. And then the questions are, who wins? Does Barkley play? And does he break the record?
Here's honestly the way I see it going. Philly's going to win. I think Saquon Barkley's going to play, but I don't think he's going to break the record, and here's why. I think they'll put him out on the field for a little bit because they want to say, oh yeah, he's going to go for the record on this game. But the second he gets hit a little too hard, they're yanking him off the field. So even if he gets close, they're not going to let him complete all the way, and they'll probably wait for the offseason for him to complete the record. But if he gets hit way too hard, they're pulling him.
He can't do it in
Oh,
the
yeah,
season.
I'm sorry. That's dumb.
Yep.
That's where my brain's at right now. But yeah, no, I know he'll have to wait till next season, if anything, because if they don't want to lose their tool right before they go into the playoffs.
Are you saying they're gonna just pull him in with one of those comically large hooks they use in shows?
It'll be so fast it'll feel like it, dude. 100%. I think they will let him go for it, but the second he gets hit too hard, he's off the field.
Yep.
David, what about you?
I think they're easily Philadelphia is going to take it, and I think they're going to let him go for the record, and I think he's going to get it. Normally, I'd agree with Grayson's about the second he gets hit too hard or whatever, but then I remember that they're playing the Giants, so he's probably not going to get hit at all.
I can't correct him. He has a point.
Scotty?
Yeah, Philadelphia is going to win easy. Barkley's going to run for, let's see, he needs 101 yards to break 101.
Yeah.
So he's going to run for 103, and then he's going to go off. And they're still talking first half, and then he goes in the locker room, he pops his champagne, and he sits back and watches the rest of the game there. So yeah, it'll be Philadelphia, Barkley for 103. And then that'll be it. Bye-bye.
Bobby?
Philadelphia's got it. Barkley will break the record.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
How does he get it?
I think if he were to get it by a yard, they'd pull him. I think if he makes a big run like he did when he got over 2,000 and breaks it by 10, whenever he breaks it, they pull him.
Yeah,
I think even the offensive linemen right now are pushing for him to play because in a way that's their record too. Because they're like,
Right.
hey, we blocked and we want him to get that record. I know Dickerson's like, oh, I don't want him to break it,
But
But
he's going to break it halfway through the first quarter, through the
Probably-
second.
somewhere in the second is my guess.
How fast?
Because he's had a bunch of runs. I think he's tied for the most in a season of 60 plus. So I think he gets one of those and a couple little ones. He's golden. They'll bring champagne out into the end zone when he scores. They'll actually put the Gatorade on him. Just call the game then. And they're like, hey, Giants lost. Let's see. Saints. Buccaneers playing to win to get in because Falcons, we already said we're gonna win. If Bucks lose this one, Falcons are in. Scott?
now Buccaneers will definitely take it at home against the Saints. Saints going for a draft pick. Yeah, definitely Buccaneers, easy.
Bobby?
Tampa.
Brendan?
I do sadly think it's going to be Tampa.
Sadly.
Grayson does not like that tone.
I felt a little vindictive there, Brennan. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Grayson, what about you?
Yeah, I think this is the best end of season gift they could possibly give to the Buccaneers. The Saints, they're not what they used to be back in the day. They have fallen far from where they were as a team. So I think, like, I don't want to be too cocky, but because I know how that usually goes. But I do think that if Baker keeps playing the way that he has been, and the team keeps showing up the way they have been, I do think they'll walk away with it and be, in the hunt.
David.
30s.
Okay. Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything sad about it. I think the Saints are already on to the next season. They're done. So it's going to be the Bucks all the way.
Yeah.
And that's even with Baker not playing the whole game.
Yeah. No, I have to agree. They'll probably get up to a big lead. I like Spencer Rattler, but there's just nothing in New Orleans to even try to compete against Tampa Bay.
No, they're already looking to the next season, I'm sure.
They're priority
there's
like
too many
hosting
questions.
coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're good. They're probably more interested in watching the college games to find out who they can poach. It's.
All right, we'll start with this one with Bobby. Bobby, why are you taking Carson Wentz to win this game?
I'm not.
Who are you taking?
Us.
You're taking Denver?
Yeah. You know what I think is going to happen, though?
Yeah, tell us.
If we get out, if we lose this game and out of the playoffs, I see Sean and I see Vance Joseph both gone.
I don't think Sean Payton's gone this early.
No.
They pay him too much. Yeah, they're in too much cap hell still because of Russell Wilson. They can't also afford to be in cap hell with a coach.
He's going to have, especially since he almost made it to be different if he got blown out this season and there was no shot in hell. Then maybe, but he got close enough that even if they don't get in there, they're going to give him at least another couple of years, probably.
Or next year, maybe if he doesn't.
Because he's improving, he just hasn't gotten there yet, and it does take a couple of years to build up a team.
Especially with the pieces they had last year to start over.
Yeah.
They did get a really good quarterback. I know I got a lot of hate when I did my quarterback rankings, putting Knicks as high as I did, but I do like Knicks. I don't think they get it done, though. I think Kansas City, even with Wentz and some of their backups who used to be starters, and I don't know if they're resting many other defensive starters or just doing like their start offense. So I still think KC wins. Scotty?
Actually, I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one, just because I think Kansas City will be sitting a lot of the players. So I'm going to lean for. I'm going to go for Denver on this one, just for that reason.
Brendan?
I think Denver will win just because Kansas City's going to sit their starters. But if I was Kansas City, I wouldn't sit my starters, so I could play Ruiner, spoiler, for beating the Broncos and kicking them out of the playoffs. But that's just me.
Grayson, would you also try to play spoiler against the Denver Broncos?
Absolutely not. Yes, I would. I think what's going to happen is they're going to sit their starters for a little bit. Broncos are going to get a little bit of a lead, and then with the way Andy Reid coaches and the way the team is, I think they'll be like, "You think that you're ahead? No." Pat Mahomes goes out on the field, scores 3 touchdowns. Defense kind of stays where they're at, and then keeps them at a loss. So I think Kansas City's going to walk away with a W.
See, what they didn't say was, Wentz is starting quarterback, but Pat Mahomes is playing wing back, so he'll still be out there. He can still pass. That'd be crazy. David, what about you?
I'm going to say not only are the Broncos going to win this game, hot take maybe, I think the Broncos would win this game even if Kansas City played all their starters.
I mean, it's definitely 100% possible. They almost beat him, and it was just kind of a fluke. that they
Yeah,
didn't beat them.
I'm so sick of Kansas City. They're so overhyped. I cannot wait for somebody to take them down in the playoffs.
All right. So next up, Bobby, Chargers, Raiders. Who you got?
I think the Chargers. I don't see the Raiders at all in this game. They're going to get blown out.
Scott?
Yeah, it's gonna be a blowout. Bob's right. It's gonna be Chargers easy.
Brendan?
Chargers.
Grayson?
Yeah, the Chargers are going to win this one.
What time tomorrow?
David?
That's gonna be them Chargers.
Yeah, give me the Chargers as well. I think the Raiders, too, are playing for their next quarterback, so I don't think they want to win too much. Next up is Seattle, which I think they should win because the Rams are going to be sitting some starters.
Sounds awesome.
So they should win. Who knows, though? Scott?
No, I think the Rams are still going to pull it out. I'm not so sure that the Rams will sit too many of their starters, especially against the Seahawks. It'll be the Rams.
Bobby?
Seattle.
Brendan?
I'll go Seattle.
Grayson?
I want to say Seattle, but I think realistically it's going to be the Rams.
David?
I'm looking at it. I'm not sure. Does anything change for the Rams if they win or lose?
No, they're stuck in third.
Like that's where they are no matter what, right? And I think Seahawks are out either way, correct?
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be the Rams kind of in a last minute type of thing. Only because they're not going to care. So they're going to be sitting everybody, and Seattle will actually benefit from losing. So they're not going to be trying too hard. Like they'll take it or leave it, I think, at this point. But I just see the Rams. Again, they're a better team, even with the backups mostly in. I have a feeling they're going to pull it off.
All right, so next up is going to be the Dolphins going to the New York Rodgers. If the Rodgers win, they do kick the Dolphins out of the playoffs. So, Scott, do you think Aaron Rodgers does it one last time in the Big Apple?
No.
That's because they don't play in the Big Apple. They play in Jersey. Okay.
Either way. No matter
Well, it
which
is the
side
stadium
of
I got kicked out of, so.
Yeah, no matter which side of the river they're on, it's going to be the Dolphins. Jets aren't going to do anything. Bye-bye. It'll be Dolphins.
The big question is Jimmy Hoffa underneath the stadium. He's not, but I know that was like the long-standing like urban legend. Bobby, who you got? Rodgers or the Dolphins?
Rodgers.
All right. Brendan.
Dolphins.
Grayson.
Give me the Dolphins.
David.
It's no question. The Dolphins actually have something to play for. So no, hold on. I'd have to know for a fact what is going on with Tua. Is he playing or is he hurt?
I think he's hurt. Let me fact check this real
Hip
quick.
injury.
If he's out, it's going to be closer, but I do think the team will rally because of the fact that, again, if the Jets win, they kick the Dolphins out of the playoffs, and that's just ridiculous. So
After I found out that Tua had a hip injury last week, I actually thought the Browns were going to win.
Yeah, but the Browns find a way to lose. What can I tell you?
I'll pick the Rodgers to beat the Tua-less Dolphins. If Tua plays, I think the Dolphins win, but I like a little chaos. Give the Bengals the playoff spot. Here's one. Scott, Cardinals hosting the 49ers.
Will you make sure?
Yeah, this will be the Cardinals at home. They play better at home. They always have. So And plus, not sure with let's see what Purdy hurt his arm again. So watching him at his last game, he hurt either his wrist or his elbow again. And you could see him on the sidelines. He looked like he was almost really about to cry. Just said, "Oh gosh, I've done it again." So without Purdy, and at Phoenix, it'll easily. I think the Cardinals will put it together at home. So, go Birds.
Bobby, what about you?
Which team is that?
The Cardinals and the 49ers.
San Francisco.
Let's see. Brendan.
Cardinals.
Grayson.
Yeah, give me the Cardinals. And then real quick, I got to step away just to make a quick phone call, so I'll be gone for a few minutes. But that's the last game that we got to call. No, we got
Lions, Vikings.
Gotcha. And then let me give you my pick for that one. I'm going to pick the Lions just because I think, even though the Vikings are on a hot streak right now, I think with the Lions being at home and them just kind of just being, on the streak that they have been over the past couple of years, I think they just want to go a little bit further to try to keep, the Vikings down and just go that extra mile. So I think they're going to try to put in a little bit of extra effort to pull out the win on this one, even though they're pretty much cemented in at this point. But are they cemented in?
No, if they lose, the Vikings get the number 1 seed.
So yeah, they're going to be fighting for that top spot. So it's going to be a good game. But that's my pick for those two games.
All right, David. Who do you think's winning? Cardinals, 49ers?
Absolutely going to be the Cardinals.
And then who do you think gets the number 1 seed? Lions or Vikings?
Yeah.
You know as well as I do. Nobody is going to keep Sam Darnold down. He's going to unleash 40% of his power and decimate the Lions.
You're only saying that because he's your quarterback.
He's not even. It doesn't even matter anymore. The season's over. But I have been awakened to these
The lore
superpowers.
of Sam Darnold.
Yes, the legend, the myth, the man, Sam Darnold. He's going to take them all the way. They are winning the Super Bowl.
Hey, if Matt was here, he would be excited to hear that.
It's going to be a Buffalo Bills and Vikings Super Bowl, and what the loser is going to be 0-5 versus for all time in Super Bowl.
Somebody has to win. The tagline is "Someone will win."
Someone's got to win.
I was going to say someone must win.
Turns out it's like a 10 overtime game.
Yeah, the tagline, like as the overtimes keep piling up, it just turns into they can't both lose.
Right? It's just like eventually, maybe, someday.
Someday.
Just like keeps getting like more desperate. Scott, who do you think's getting number 1 seed?
Oh, it'll be the Lions. Lions at home. They won't be really dominant. It's going to be the game of the week, that's for sure. But it'll definitely end up being the Lions at the end. Definitely.
Bobby
Detroit.
or Rendon?
I'm going to choose the Vikings. Agree with David. I think the Lions' injuries are going to catch up to them this week when they play a good team. And they have a lot of injuries piling up. So I think the Vikings will be able to beat them.
I also think, like, away just from the meme of the Sam Darnold, I also think that the Lions are going to go into it a lot cockier than the Vikings. I think the Vikings are hungrier to prove themselves. They feel like, that they can do it. Whereas I feel like the Lions, they have a sense of this is owed to them. At this point, they feel like this is ours to take. Whereas I think the Vikings are working harder to earn it. And I think that kind of mentality is going to get them further on the field.
I'm going to pick the tie, and then Philadelphia gets the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Nah, I could definitely
But
see
only
Vikings.
after Saquon Barkley gets the record and breaks his leg on that play, right?
No.
Just the ultimate negative. Well, there's our picks for the week.
Hey, no, you didn't pick anybody.
I said the Vikings
Oh, okay.
after I did my name or whatever.
It's because you didn't want Darnold showing up at your house tonight.
That's pretty
I knew what he was going to say. You're going to just see a picture of him shaking my hand next.
And then we never hear from you again.
Update. It's in the fourth quarter. Penn State still ahead by 10. So, but Boise has the ball again.
How far into the fourth quarter?
10:44.
Oh, yeah.
Boise is on Penn State's 24. So
it's still anybody's game.
yeah, they can score, make it a 3-pointer.
I think they're making it more of a game than anybody expected it to be.
Especially after they were down 14-0. I was like, all right, this one's over.
I feel like Penn State has been really good this season. I mean, they were pretty much undefeated. I think they thought they'd run over them pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, Scott, going into 2025, doing anything big?
No, just going to be nice and quiet, stay off the roads. Drivers in Arizona are horrendous anyway, but you want to put it on New Year's night. No, best thing to do. The only way to save your life is to stay inside. So, no matter what it is, I'll be inside this tonight, and then we'll worry about everybody else in the package tomorrow. So, happy New Year for everybody. That's my closing thought.
Yeah, happy New Year, Scott. Thanks for joining as always. Bobby, what about you? Doing anything special?
Staying in. All the cops are out tonight. I know Douglas County's out in full force. Mm-hmm. They don't put up with no crap either. No crap.
Yeah. Brennan, what about you?
No.
All right, David, it's up to you.
That was super depressing. Just no. I'm actually out at a party now. That's why I'm wearing the headphones. They're behind me. It's going off in here. Sam Darnold invited me to his New Year's party. I couldn't say no. So, no. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like maybe it's just as you get older, it just seems kind of less and less worth it.
Yeah.
I just feel like there is so many drunk drivers out. I can't afford Uber surging prices. It's just it's fun. I love the tradition and concepts of it. But as far as it goes, I'm more into like going to like an event thing, like maybe a big like ball at a hotel and you all stay the night, something like that. But anything going out and then coming home the same night, it's not worth it to me. I feel like all the prices are inflated everywhere you go. Everything is crazy. I got no problem just kind of enjoying the new year here and getting ready for a great 2025.
Yep.
You probably have too much editing to do anyways.
Literally every day. It's just my life.
Once you want on YouTube, that's what happens. You have to edit. Like today, I would love to go to bed. I'm running like 103-degree temp. I will probably just go edit after this for a little bit.
Yep.
That's after you find out that this didn't even happen. This has all been a dream, and you're about 10 minutes from the start of the actual show.
It's just my like medication hallucination.
You dozed off as you were setting this up, and then you're like, oh, time for the chat.
All deja vu.
Well, David, going into 2025, talking about abnormal voyages, anything maybe the viewers should be on the lookout for?
Just should be a great year. Got a lot of really cool episodes coming up, some awesome stuff. And then definitely it's gonna be a little like we don't have our usual New Year's recap this year, which usually would have come out right now, kind of recapping the year, because coming this summer we will be having a big celebration to kick off a year-long celebration of 5 years of Abnormal Voyages. Our 5th anniversary is going to be this summer, July 1st. So that'll be the start of it. And then it'll be an entire year of just even bigger, grander voyages and adventures, lots of great things. But as far as the stuff going into it, hopefully getting out to some more events this year, bringing in some new different festivities, some great interviews, and just bringing you another full year of weirdness, wackiness, and wonderful things in this world.
You saying it's been 5 years since you met a crazy dude in a Dallas area cemetery at Bonnie Parker's grave?
I know, dude. There should be a Hallmark movie about us.
Was that your first year doing that?
It was. That was like our first couple of months doing it.
Damn, it's already been 5 years.
I know.
Yeah,
Happened
Brandon,
during the COVID years.
Yeah, because like half of Dallas wasn't open when we went down there. Half of it was there was a bunch of people on scooters running around like terrorizing people on the streets. It was crazy. Are they still on the scooters in Dallas?
Yeah, that's the dystopia they're hoping takes over eventually. Just random scooter gangs ruling the world, just going around.
There was one that just kept like circling our hotel. I forget what hotel we stayed at.
That's weird. That's very weird.
Yeah, and the hotel people were like, "Hey, you might not want to go out late at night." So what did me and Brendan do?
Don't go out after dark. They're scooter boys.
All I heard was roaming scooter gangs, and all I could think about was the roaming granny gang from Monty Python. I was like, is that really coming to life right now?
What about you, Grayson? Any plans for New Year's Eve tonight? Anything special?
As you can tell, I'm already pretty sleep deprived as it is. So if I can ride this wave all the way out until midnight, we'll see what happens. But nothing too crazy, nothing too shenaniganous, because it's too expensive to do anything up here.
That's what I said. That's just It's not worth it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like $100 for a door charge, and then I still have to pay for my own drinks. No, thank you.
And and like I said, I can't pay those Uber surging prices. That's like
Yeah,
$200 to get in and out.
Well, it's like for where I live too. It's like they provide like really like well routine bus service, but they call the last bus of the night the vomit comet, because that's where all the people that stayed till last call get on.
Yep.
It's brutal, dude. Yeah, you're like, I really am starting to question some of the decisions I'm making right this second.
Yep. Oh God, yeah.
Brendan or Grayson, if Sam Darnold is there, just like raise up your arm so we know. Just see his like hand get knocked down. Well, yeah. Thank you guys for joining us again in 2024. It was a really pretty exceptional year. We've been doing a lot more. I know if you guys were on our live stream last night, we got a ton planned for January at least.
Yep.
And we'll just keep on cranking out, doing all this stuff. So thank you guys for your support. If you guys
so real quick to let them know, even though we're done with fantasy football, are we still doing weekly talks up through the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it through the Super Bowl, and then we'll do free agency the first 3 days. And then we do the draft, the first night of the draft. Which this year we're going to be at. Where is the draft this year?
LA.
No.
That's lucky.
I feel like Vegas, but it was at Vegas last year, right?
Yeah.
No, are you ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Gonna be in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
In April. It'll be a very cold draft.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys again for joining. If you want more sports chat, to the left. If you want to see David, Grayson, Nolan, and myself talk Sonic and Sonic 3, click that link to your right. Don't forget to like and give us a subscribe. And just let us know. Do you think there'll be any upsets that push a team out of the playoffs? Tell us in the comments below.